Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, and this is Midnight Metal, and I am Robert Meyer. Burnett, my God, this show is ready to drink. It's the 21st episode of Midnight Metal, and let me just bring on my co-star, Mr. Dave Parker. Dave!
Hey!
Are you feeling metal tonight, buddy?
Rob, I'm always feeling metal, but I'm especially feeling metal tonight. I'm still on the high from last week, which I thought was really, really, really fucking great.
Great, dude.
And I've been reading the comments that people have been put up, on.
They love you, Dave.
Posts and stuff I'm really glad that people are like into us bringing in like music people and being open and embracing of that. So that's really cool. The fact that we can bring more attention to, we know how hard it is for filmmakers to get, any attention when they're starting out, which is what tonight's show is all about. But last week's was about a band, and I hope we can keep doing it. It's really awesome.
Well, Dave, thanks
really
to you.
Awesome.
We have a great guest tonight, Mr. Matt Mercer, and he has a film burning up the cult horror circuit, I guess you could call it. And I am very excited. Dementia Part Two. We're going to hear from him at the 1 o'clock hour. But you know who we have tonight with us to start this shindig the way it's meant to be started? We have Andre from Midnight's Edge, all the way from Norway. Andre, are you feeling fucking metal, dude?
Oh, nice. That's what I was doing too.
You know who's going to play in LA? Rammstein. Come on, dude.
Rammstein.
I was going to be, is that when you're going to come to LA? Come on to LA and come see Rammstein. We'll all go together.
It's an amazing show. Amazing live show.
Andre,
have you ever gone, Rob?
I don't know if we can hear you, Andre, to be honest.
Oh, they say that they can.
Yeah, I don't know why. Let me find out why that is, Andre. Here I am asking you questions, and we don't know if anyone can hear you. That would be...
I can hear you fine.
Hang on, Andre. That I can hear you just fine. I do not know why the audience... Actually, I think I might know why the audience can't hear you. Give me... it's not metal if you don't have some kind of technical snafu.
It's okay, guys. Rob does not have a roadie with him to make sure this is all smooth.
That is true. By God, I do not have a roadie. Now, let me ask you, Andre, can you say something now?
Rammstein.
Oh, I love that. Now, there's a way to get your voice back in the show. Yes. You're in the show. So let me ask you one more time, Andre. Will you come to Los Angeles to go see Rammstein with us? And how many times have you seen them?
I will come to LA to see Rammstein with you guys, and I've seen them five times so far.
Damn.
Dude.
Yeah.
Now, what's your favorite Rammstein song?
Nebel. It's one you will only have heard if you have the albums. It's on the Green album, Mutter. It has never been released as a single, but it's a musical masterpiece.
Wow.
So that one is my favorite, above and beyond all others.
And what's the best Rammstein album?
Probably the most recent one. Yeah, the newest one, the titleless one, because that has so many amazing songs. Followed by Reise Reise.
Wow,
nice.
That sounds like it's about a Star Trek pleasure planet.
Yeah,
hey, Rob, you have to behave tonight because Elizabeth is in the room. She's watching. She's checking up on you.
Elizabeth.
So when you do the pour, just do it carefully under the camera.
I see. Well, I will do the pour carefully. So Andre, let me ask you this. So the metal scene is in fact still thriving in Norway. Is that true?
Yes, it is. There are so many underground bands that are up and coming. I don't even have track of all of them. And the Inferno Festival is still going strong each year. So the Norwegian metal scene is as strong as it ever was, with ever new talent coming to the scene.
Well,
so yeah, it's very metal still.
That's great to know. You know, I just wanted to show you that Ash Chowhan, as a viewer, has been unearthing my early rock career. And I actually was in Rammstein for a moment, so I'm just going to throw up a picture of me in the band. You can see me on the far right in this photo on the live YouTube stream. There I am in the band. I was actually in Rammstein, but that obviously did not last very long because I was much more, my sensibilities were much more Aha and Duran Duran. So I was let go after a short stint in Rammstein, but I want to thank Ash Chowan for unearthing this picture of me with the band. So there
Rob,
you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Your jaw has never been so chiseled.
I what can I
You're
say?
almost
I mean,
you're almost I'm trying to think here who else you look like when you were in Rammstein.
I kind of had a Brandon Routh vibe, I thought, a little bit there. Maybe.
A little bit mixed with maybe Dana Ashbrook circa Twin Peaks.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. So anyway, gents, we're going through a wacky. There's been a wacky week, but it looks like movie theaters are back. People are going to the movies. How do you both feel about that? I mean, Hollywood.
Well, at least in America, Andre, how is it over there? What's the theater situation there?
Well, the theaters have been open the whole time actually, but in different places.
Okay.
Because like for instance in Oslo there have been heavy restrictions, so that's been closed the whole time. But once you leave Oslo, once you're like 20 minutes outside, life has been pretty much been as normal the whole time, including with theaters. So they can't operate at full capacity. It's like every other seat or something, or like every third seat, which means that the theaters not only have been open, you've had better space than ever to go watch movies. Now, the issue has been, of course, that when everything has gone to HBO Max and stuff, there has been any movies to release. So the last time I went to the cinema myself was actually to see Tenet. But at least it's nice to know that the movie theaters, they are there and they're coming back again.
That's awesome. Now let me ask you something. Did you understand Tenet? Because I did not.
As much as I care to, I will say that I have like one huge help in coming from subtitle land.
That might help by me. I'm going to try.
So we actually get subtitled everything they say on screen. I was like first really noticed how grateful I was for that when watching The Dark Knight Rises, where you have Tom Hardy playing Bane, who is sometimes difficult to understand without the gag in his mouth.
What do you mean?
The subtitles were most helpful there.
I'm totally understandable.
To crash your plane.
What are you talking about?
I mean, obviously, one of the greatest things ever on YouTube is still the Oral Knots video of Freestyle Bane.
Oh my God!
If you haven't seen Freestyle Bane, go to YouTube right now and just look up Freestyle Bane and watch it. They're why the Oral Knots are some of the greatest guys on YouTube making videos. They never cease to crack me up, but Freestyle Bane might still be their masterpiece.
Yeah, you might be right there. I just want to quickly point out, Rob, just so you know, Ash says that no, when you were in Rammstein, you looked like John Hamm from Baby Driver.
Oh yes, I got that all the time. People said I look like the Mad Men guy.
Yeah, absolutely, and he also which makes me very happy because of last week's interview with CK. He subscribed to Chaosium's YouTube channel and has been listening to the album. So it's like win-win. We got another convert. We got another convert here.
If one thing we can do for Midnight Metal is bring people together, shine a light on new talent, emerging talent. I think that's the most metal fucking thing we can do on this show, man.
What you mean, turn them on to some stuff?
Well, okay, turn them on, but I mean,
if we can turn these people on, that's fucking metal.
It is metal, but with new people they might want to explore.
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes it's nice to revisit, an old flame. Sometimes.
I wouldn't know anything about that. So
no, you just keep moving forward. You've never slipped back, huh?
No, I never slipped back. I just keep moving
Never,
forward.
never. You've
No.
never.
Okay.
Well, you're being careful now
Movie-wise,
because Elizabeth is watching, so you have to be careful what you say. So.
well, I do slip back and watch old movies that I revisit them frequently. I mean, if that counts. Andre, do you? I mean, I know having the impresario of a channel like Midnight's Edge, but do you watch? Do you go back and watch older movies a lot?
So every once in a while, because you have like the old classics that you love, right? And that I have to have on display in my shelf. Of course, I have to go back and rewatch them from time to time, but it can be years in between each time. Like for instance, like franchises that I really love. Like for instance, Friday the 13th, the Pink Panther. But notice how I put the two of them in the same sentence.
Yeah. I mean, they're hard to distinguish, really.
Yeah, exactly. But I noticed that I tend to like rewatch them like once a decade. So it's not like something that I go and I rewatch all the time. It can be years between each time I watch them, but when I get them in new versions and everything like that, it's because I fully intend to rewatch them in the highest possible quality.
No, I've never asked you this. I don't think I've ever heard you speak about it, but what are some of your favorite movies? Like if you're stuck on a desert island and they give you 10 movies that wash up miraculously on the beach, what would some of those movies be?
Well, let's see. There's obviously Dredd. That's the first one that comes to mind.
Good one,
That's
man.
The best action movie that has ever been made.
That was one of the. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just got to say, seeing Dredd in 3D at the Chinese theater was one of the most enjoyable experiences in a theater. It was
just
so
thought I
great.
would bring up my Carl Urban bootleg third-party Dredd figure. Just saying.
Nice, very nice.
You always got to one up, Rob. You always got to one up.
No, this is sharing. This is sharing. I don't expect everybody.
I'm kidding.
So that's a good. I mean, Andre, that's a really good one. I'm curious what else. I mean, that's to start off a list like that is fantastic.
Yeah, of course. And then, of course, I'd also bring Life of Brian for being one of the best, most important comedies and satires ever made. So that one would definitely be on the list.
Didn't go with the Holy Grail. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Life of Brian, though, is pretty great.
They're both. I mean, they're both great.
That's good. What an eclectic list. Give us some more, man.
Yeah.
Well, and then continuing with the eclectic things, I wouldn't bring any Star Wars movie because I did not grow up with Star Wars, so I have no nostalgia for it. I would, however, bring Spaceballs because I didn't grow up with that, so that's my Star Wars.
I love it. What a great list. So Dredd, Star Wars, Spaceballs, and Life of Brian. Keep going, man.
I have to bring a couple of more other really more important ones as well, and then I have to bring A Shot in the Dark, because I would bring all the Peter Sellers Pink Panther movies if I could, but for this list I'll restrict myself to one, and then we'll go with the most important one, and that's A Shot in the Dark.
Nice.
Wow. Interesting.
Nice. What a great list. Keep going. I can't wait to hear what you're going to say next.
Quest for Fire. One of my all-time favorite movies.
You know, you don't hear that talked about much.
No, it's a beautiful movie, but
it is.
When it came out, I was very young, and it wasn't something that I was going to appreciate. But seeing it later on, I was like, oh man, yeah, it's a beautiful movie.
It would get so Me Too'd today.
But that's the thing. But I love prehistoric movies. I love movies about cavemen and stuff. Look, I'll even go 10,000 BC, the Roland Emmerich movie. I'll go cheesy like that.
Dave,
with
you shouldn't even say that.
Why?
You're going to compare that with Quest for Fire?
I'm not comparing it. I'm saying I like that genre. Like Alpha was one of my favorite movies of the year that it came out. Now, I thought that was completely underrated.
That's Jean-Jacques Annaud who directed Quest for Fire, right?
Yes.
I mean, I really enjoyed. Didn't he direct like The Bear?
He did. He did.
Yeah.
which is a great movie, but then it's like, well, what did they do? Then everyone gets up in arms because it's like, oh, what did they do to like get the bears to do that and stuff if they were trained? It's like Milo and Otis has a really dark backstory to the movie, which is horrifying. What they to get the performances, the ammo, but can we just think about the movie and not that stuff? So
well, this is Andre. You got the most eclectic list. Keep going. Give us a few more.
Yeah.
Then continuing with the eclecticism, one of the greatest movies ever made, one that I actually will put right up there with Citizen Kane, Charlie Chaplin's The Dictator.
Oh, the great dictator! And the speech in that film is I watch that speech all the time. It's one of the great moments in cinema history. I would agree with you. I always have my. I won't pick him up, Dave, but I do have my Charlie Chaplin 6 scale
pick him
figure.
up, man. He's awesome. People should see that. Share it. Pick it up.
Absolutely. Share.
That thing is so rare that you can't get it anymore.
Oh,
it's like you have what, one of how many that were made of this beautiful piece?
There were not very many made, and I bought this on a whim, probably 10 years ago, and of course everyone knows I have an action figure chair fetish. And he came with a chair. So, my God.
And the funny thing is, your fetish is like you don't even care about what the chair is. I mean, if it's a cool throne.
Yeah.
I assume, did the Black Panther come with his throne?
No, you had to buy it separately.
Oh, but they did make one.
Dude,
okay.
Are you kidding? Wait, I can't reach her now. I have
no,
the
throne. That throne's really awesome.
I have the throne of Wakanda. It was, here, it's almost like Hot Toys read my mind. Hot Toys made just a throne. They just made the throne of Wakanda. No figure. It was $100. You had to buy the throne. And let me just say, since you brought it up, I pre-ordered a third-party Thanos throne from his spaceship from Endgame. I've been waiting a year, dude, to get my Thanos throne.
It's going to be so worth the wait.
And then there's there's a third-party throne, the throne of Asgard, that I need for so I can put my Odin figure in it. I don't know what it is about me and chairs. And then, of course, I found on a French website an H.R. Giger. Andre, is it Giger or Geiger? H.R. Geiger, the artist who created the alien for Alien. How do you always say
Geiger? It's a Swiss name, but I would say Giger.
Giger. Okay. H.R. Giger.
Yeah, I see no reason why there should be a diphthong in Geiger. I mean, then it would have been E-I. It's just I, so I would say Giger.
Giger, okay.
There's
an awesome action figure of him, circa 79, when he worked on Alien, and it comes with a giant alien-esque chair.
Is that the one from that's in the bar? That his bar?
No,
those long. No, it's not.
No, I don't know. No, it's a long, like, throne-esque.
No, so it looks like that. Sounds like what maybe would be at the bar.
Yeah, maybe it is. I think I have to like drop the green on that because I need to get.
That's incredible.
It's awesome. By the way,
let me ask you.
Says hi, Andre, Dave, and R&B. Looking forward to tonight's show. Dementia 2 movie trailer is so metal. Dave, there was the Dropbox link you sent me didn't work. I don't know why.
I'm sorry.
But so I did get the trailer, and I did post the trailer in the live chat at the top of the live chat.
Okay.
So, yes. So, Andre, I wanted to ask you about obviously we always discuss the entertainment news of the week.
Before that, I have to bring up one more movie. That's
yes, please
just
do.
Final one. The Fearless Vampire Killers.
We're both fans of that.
Love that movie. Has Sharon Tate ever looked more beautiful?
She has never looked better than in that movie.
Amazing. What an amazing film. That was the only time Roman Polanski and her worked together, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, that was the movie that I believe they met, and it was the one that preceded the unfortunate events that would derail everyone's lives and career since then.
That started their whirlwind romance. That's pretty cool.
That's a movie I don't own on Blu-ray. I need to.
And they do have it. And they do have it.
Yeah, I have the Spanish Blu-ray release.
I need to get that.
Warner Archives has it, and you can get it in HD. There's no extras, but you can get it in HD on some stream like iTunes and Vudu and stuff like that. You can get that movie. I just love that movie because it's so stylized. There's a lot of stylization to that movie that is very unusual even for Polanski.
Yeah, it's the perfect Hammer horror movie because it's not an actual Hammer horror, but it's meant both as a tribute and as a satire and a parody at the same time. And in so doing, it perfectly distilled what Hammer is all about. Better and more pure than most Hammer movies. At least that's my opinion. Know. You may disagree with that, but that's my opinion. That's why I love it so much.
That's interesting.
Rob, not so much, but in terms of visuals and that whole flair, the Hammer influence is very clear there.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. But Rob, what would you say for you? This is actually interesting. What is like proper Hammer? What is your this speaks for Hammer?
Well, I'll tell you something. Okay, that's a really interesting question. We've never talked about this. First, I just want to say I'm surprised at how many younger horror fans don't know Hammer Studios at all. It's and I for me it was essential because one, there was all the great classical monsters, but there's lots of lesbian vampires and boobs in Hammer movies. So when you were a kid, they were amazing. But I would say that I group Hammer into different things. Obviously, they have a thriller component, but I don't really go for those. They released some Quatermass movies, so sci-fi, which was great. But to me, Hammer is synonymous with horror. Right. And while I would say that, like, of course, we've got the Frankenstein and the Dracula movies. You've got the Peter Cushing Frankenstein movies. And then he comes back and plays other characters, Christopher Lee. And then you've got Christopher Lee's Dracula movies. And those, to me, I think are kind of quintessential Hammer, and I think that's what people think of the most. But for me, I like the sort of Hammer outlier movies. My favorite Hammer movie is Vampire.
Oh, I know this.
It's Vampire Circus. I love Vampire Circus because it's both horrific and whimsical. And then I love the Karnstein trilogy, the Twins of Evil, Lust for a Vampire, and The Vampire Lovers. And I love those three movies. The gore, like Vampire Lovers, is so good, and so is Twins of Evil. Actually, so is Lust for a Vampire. And then like Devil Rides Out.
That's what I was gonna say. Devil Rides Out might be my favorite Hammer film.
Yeah,
but I have to put it in different slots. Like my favorite Hammer Dracula film, my favorite Hammer Frankenstein film. Like my favorite Dracula Hammer film is Taste the Blood of Dracula.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so there's so much debauchery in it.
Yeah,
from old men, including the guy from the Bond films.
Yeah,
is in there, and I love that. And the Frankenstein ones are a weird bunch because the ones where the monster isn't as cool, like Frankenstein Created Woman, is a great film, and but I really do like Monster from Hell, the last one they did.
Yeah. Did you grow up with Hammer films, Andre?
Not so much, no, because you would think that I did, but I didn't. They were never around. They were never on TV. And you have to look for them specifically. So I've seen some of them. I've seen and I own the more important ones, like the more important Draculas, the more important Frankensteins, the Mummy, typically like the earlier installments of the series before they degraded into endless reboots and self-referential parodying.
Sure.
So I've seen like the original, but I haven't seen, like, for instance, all of the Christopher Lee Draculas. But I've seen the most important ones.
Right. Well,
nice.
I mean, they're interesting. To me, when I was a kid, because they had material in them that I kind of wasn't supposed to see, the sexual component, the nudity. I mean, I didn't really understand when I was younger that two girls kissing each other, what that was all about. I just knew I loved it.
You must be a huge fan of Jean Rollins.
Oh my God! Boy.
Which you know,
fascination.
I don't get that. Like Rob and I like will connect on Living Dead Girl.
Yes, that's my favorite John Nolan movie.
Right, because it's the best one. Because most of them are fucking boring.
Well, look, I mean, if you're
guys.
talking about French lesbian vampire movies, I mean, come on.
I'm sorry, he and Jess Franco. I just have a disconnect. I cannot. We're probably losing people here because like who, and who, Jess who.
Well, you know,
Hammer what? but I'll say this. I'll say you know. But Andre like brought up the Mummy. It's my favorite Mummy movie. Is the original Hammer Mummy. That's the best one.
It really is. Yeah.
The Oliver Reed Curse of the Werewolf is awesome.
Awesome.
But I love the atmosphere of like the Gorgon.
Yep.
And Plague of the Zombies.
Plague of the Zombies is great.
They just did they did really awesome shit.
Yeah, I mean it's such a bygone era, you know. I one of the things that Elizabeth and I were doing on Whining About Movies is we watched things like Black Sunday, you know, which is not a Hammer movie, it's a Mario Bava movie, but Black Sunday is one of my favorite classical horror films because, you know, it's mostly stage bound. And even the exteriors it's such a beautiful, lyrical, poetic film. And, you know, people aren't, I've always said, Andre and Dave, I've said on I have a theory that pop culture, like plutonium, has a half-life. And I think that the half-life of pop culture is 20 years. Every 20 years, things get further and further away. And then eventually, and this was actually solidified with our Bond series that I was invited to do on Midnight's Edge. Tom, over at Midnight's Edge, had never seen a Bond movie. And so what he's doing is Tom will watch a Bond movie and then we'll all get together and talk about the Bond film. And what's been really interesting for me is Bond was such a part of my life growing up. But what I found really fascinating is when Tom was talking about watching Dr. No for the first time. And I realized that for a new generation of people, I think Bond, going all the way back to Dr. No, has fallen out of it no longer can be what it was when it first came out. When it first came out, it was a very cutting-edge, relevant action film. It was an adaptation of Ian Fleming's hugely popular novel series that President Kennedy at the time said he loved James Bond novels. But when I went back and rewatched Dr. No, because I knew Tom we were gonna start this series, I was like, I get it that the modern era would have a really hard time watching Dr. No. And Tom brought some more scholarly acumen to his analysis of it. But I could tell that he was even struggling with, you know, this is so far removed from what I'm used to as far as being a movie watcher. And I realized that some movies, you know, they just fall out of our current culture's ability to watch and enjoy because they're so dated. And
exactly.
I think, yeah, and you can't, I don't blame anybody for that. I certainly don't blame audience members, but it's really interesting. Like, you know, Dave and I, we grew up steeped in all of this stuff. I mean, watching the original Universal, I think the Universal monster movies do in fact hold up, actually.
Well, they hold up, but I'm curious, and maybe the people watching can like chime in on this. Do the Universal monsters work for you still? I mean, obviously there's a legacy still, but I think it's because we're hitting that prime age of like, we're like the last of the monster kids. And
I think you are.
I mean, we've just gotten to that age where we're old enough, but it's like, but again, the thing is studios still see viability in them. And I love what like Lee Winnell did with The Invisible Man of updating it in a very interesting way.
Right.
But that character works where Frankenstein doesn't, or the Mummy doesn't. Though, again, look how popular Stephen Sommers' Mummy was.
To audiences today, that is the Mummy. That was their exposure to the character. Same with me.
I'm grateful and happy that they can embrace something that was also a period piece where, you know, I don't know, it's just curious now where you sort of go, well, can people like embrace this stuff now? Or is it just, oh, that's for old people. We don't want your old shit.
But I do
I mean,
think
and
there
the funny
is.
thing is now, Jason, Freddy, Candyman, Leprechaun, all these fucking, they are the old people. They were the new monsters when I was young. I don't know why people aren't embracing, like I would say what Jigsaw and maybe Annabelle are they the new
Yeah, they
horror
are. They totally
titans
are. I think I can
that
speak a
are
little
that
bit
people
on
are
this.
embracing?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can think I can speak on this
It's
a little
interesting.
bit because I'm just like that transitional age in between. Plus, I have such connections to people that are far younger. And the feedback that I get, that's actually one of the reasons why we did that Discovering Bond series, is because I was fascinated with the same time. When does a movie reach its sell-by date?
Yes.
And many movies, they absolutely have. You see, like the Bond movies, for even someone like Tom, who is an age where other people of his age that grew up with it, they love it still. But he didn't grow up with it. He
No.
doesn't have that childhood nostalgia. So he's of the same age of other people that do love it. But he doesn't. He sees it at the first time without nostalgia. And he can't get into it because it's too locked up in one specific period of time that he can't relate to. And I think you're going to have the same thing with the Universal monsters. It'll be very difficult for modern audiences that weren't exposed to them to begin with. I think that they can see them as a purely intellectual enterprise, to see them as you would a historical documentary, but see them and actually get into the story and be engaged by it and engage with it. For instance, with all the Universal horror monster movies, they're like stage plays today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the time has also passed for those in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I find it, obviously I find it very interesting inhabiting this YouTube film pundit pop culture critic space, because when I was younger, we would soak up anything. Like I would, as a kid, I watched it if it had monsters or spaceships or the hint of of anything remotely science fiction, fantasy, or horror. I would watch anything. It didn't matter if it was black and white. I didn't care if it was a silent movie. I would watch anything because there was no access to it. We only had television, and then when home video, the dawn of home video came, I mean, I rented some really schlocky stuff because the promise of, my God, when video was new, there was nothing out.
Oh,
So
but that box art.
the box art, no,
that was the promise. That was
box art was better than ever. I mean, that's why I swear by custom covers for my Blu-ray collection.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. I love that idea. But yeah, and you couldn't see these things. And I would read, I mean, I voraciously devoured any film book like the history. I have this hardcover, The History of the Horror Movie, and it was a black and white and purple book, and it was a hardcover. I don't even know where it came from, and I think my dad had it or something. It was part of a collection, and I got this book, and it was all like really classical horror films, and I must have looked at that book 1,000 times, and where can you see these movies? Because it was pre-home video, and it seemed like when I was a kid, I was being teased. Like, how is it that there's all of these movies in the world that I can't see? If they're not on if they're on late night television, like I'd find one, I obsessively looked through the next week's TV guide at like 3 a.m, like what movie was going to be played, and I would beg I'm like 8 years old, I'm like, Mom, Taste the Blood of Dracula is on TV, and my mom's like, there's no way you're going to stay up till 3 a.m. No. And I'd be like, I'll set my alarm and I'll get up at 3, Mom, and I'll watch the movie.
And you never would. But I mean, that's the thing. I think that was the difference with the age of having to wait for something or having to discover and just luckily stumble upon it. It sort of put a more importance on what you were watching, as opposed to being able to just scroll through a postage stamp and go, oh, okay. I think in a lot of ways, what streaming has done, which is great in some ways, because it's opened the world up to a huge, vast library of films that you would never have access to. But when you're scrolling through and it's a postage stamp of art and you're deciding on that fact, it's a little different. I remember the first book that I got about horror movies, and it was honestly before I could certainly read the book, and it was called Horrors from Screen to Scream by Ed Naha.
Wow.
And I still have the book. I loved it so much. I took care of it as a kid. I still have this book, and it was filled with all the classic stuff. But then it was published in the 70s. So then you would get this like ultra gory still from Let's Scare Jessica to Death. And you're just going, what the fuck is this? And the nice thing about at least home video when we could go to stores was the discovery. You would hear about these things. And I was lucky too. Like my parents weren't really into horror movies, but my mom did like the Universal Monster movies. So she did introduce me to those. So it was a generational thing. And I think that's the important thing. It's like, we want to keep because these are things. And the thing is, classic monsters, those things from literature are still alive. Like, the guy who did Candyman, Bernard Rose, he did a really interesting take on Frankenstein that came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You get vampire movies all the time. Obviously, Lee did The Invisible Man. There's so many Jekyll and Hydes. I mean, just look on TV and the, Penny Dreadful and all these other, BBC series of Jekyll and Hyde and all these type of things. They still, it's very comforting because they do still exist. And it's nice to know that, they do, because the nice, and to point
Dave,
out,
I want to ask Andre, when you were a kid growing up in Norway, were your parents, were you able to access, did you watch horror? Were your parents, did they take you to the video store? And were you a kid that was seeking this kind of stuff out? Like, what was it like being a movie fan or a kid in Norway during the dawn of the home video era or after it had started? What was it like for you?
I think it was probably different from you, because I didn't have those books or anything like that. And for instance, my parents, they had never seen the original Universal monster movies. I mean, if I show it to them today, it'll be for the first time. They did, however, see the Hammer movies because they were in theaters when they were young.
Right.
As for me, it was like the whole VHS boom. We had that here, and my first introduction to horror movies and stuff like that was when we went to the VHS rental store. And when my parents were looking, we'd typically get a cartoon or something for me, and then they would get Rambo 3 or something like that for them. And while they were looking for the most recent action movie or drama that my mother would suffer my father through or something like that, I would sneak off into the horror section and I would just browse at the box art and be amazed at the box art of movies like Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street, Critters, all of these 80s horror movies with the amazing poster art that made it to the box art. And I would just look at these covers with my mouth open, just imagining what these movies must be like, reading the description behind, looking at the pictures. Would they rent them for me? No, of course not. I asked them, can we rent this one? And I showed this Freddy Krueger one, and they were like, hell no. So, I didn't see them until I was old enough to rent them for myself, or when they were on TV, and I could kind of sneak up and record them. But yeah, so no, that was how I discovered it. It was the 80s horror that were in the VHS section.
Yeah.
Hammer movies, Universal Monsters, I only learned of their existence much, much later because I sought it out.
When you finally saw these movies, did they live up to the promise of what you imagined them to be from the box art, or were you disappointed?
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask too. Is was the impact still there if you rented it later?
They were very impactful, absolutely. But
Awesome.
they weren't quite what I had built them up in my mind to be.
Right.
Like, for instance, one thing that stood out was in Hellraiser, where you have like this whole sequence in Hellbound, where you have like on the box art, you have like this picture of them in the surgical gown and with like the face mask and everything.
Oh, Hellraiser 2.
Even in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Yep.
Wasn't in the movie. And other times you kind of like imagine a setting, or at least I did. I looked at the pictures, the stills from the movie behind, and my imagination went wild, and I imagined a setting. And then, of course, that setting didn't match what was in the movie when I finally did go to see it. So it didn't live up to my expectations in that way. But it still delivered. Like, these were really movies that made an impact. Just not the kind of impact that I thought they would make when I saw them.
What is the movie like? I know you said you're a Friday the 13th fan, but specifically since we've been talking about horror, by the way, I love that we veered into this discussion because it's great. It's fucking metal.
It works for the night's theme. So
yes, it works for the night's themes.
It does.
So Andre, what was the movie like in terms of horror? What was the movie that maybe surpassed your expectations? What was the film that really left? What was the most impactful horror film that you saw that, I don't know if it left you disturbed, but left you profoundly shook? Or maybe there wasn't one. I don't know. But what would that be?
Well, there are several, actually. Friday the 13th. No, actually, that didn't do anything. That was just fun. That was just a fun movie that I had fun watching, but one that really made an impact. The original Hellraiser. I became a lifelong Hellraiser fan after seeing that first one on VHS, and I've owned the movie in every single format that has come since. Another one that stands out is let's see now. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street that also made an impact, but that was like in my young impressionate age. Beyond that, like in more modern times, the ones that really stood out and like freaked me out a little bit were two in particular. It's the first Insidious.
Oh yeah, okay. I loved the first Insidious.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
That was really, really great, and that whole thing with like the soul flying and stuff, that freaked me out a bit. And Martyrs.
Oh,
well,
dude,
that's gonna fuck anyone up.
Yeah,
that's gonna impact anyone.
Martyrs, I have to say, of all the more modern horror films, Martyrs, I kept reading about Martyrs. I read articles. There's like a 4-page article in Fangoria about Martyrs. I read reviews of it, but it was the one movie in my life where I didn't understand or get a sense of what the movie was even about. Like, it was no matter how many articles I read about Martyrs, because I couldn't get it for the longest time. And then I think Dimension Extreme released it on DVD here in America. And I remember watching it for the first time, and it was, my jaw hit the floor. Like, watching that movie, there's a scene that I'm following along, like, okay. And then, you meet this family, they're having dinner, and I'm like, wait, what's going on here? And then the movie, a doorbell rings, and it just takes this left turn, and it goes way beyond anything I ever expected. And I was literally floored by that movie.
And that scene was early in the movie.
Yeah. Well, then that scene just goes on. I mean, there's so many twists and turns where literally I couldn't believe what I was watching. And now I'm overselling it, but at the time I just, and then where it went to, the last 45 minutes of that movie, my mouth was agape. And at the end, it's strangely life affirming and poetic.
Well,
maybe?
That depends on how you choose to look at it. I think that's entirely up to the interpretation of the person watching. I will say, though, you know how I discovered that? That was actually through Hellraiser, because I was just reading the trades and saw, okay, so now you have like these French directors. They are up for directing a Hellraiser remake this week. Well, actually, this Martyrs thing that they've done before, I think I saw that in the Norwegian DVD store well, let's pick that up the next time. So I went in completely unaware. I mean, you read about it, so you had like some idea that this was going to be something mind-blowing. I just picked it up on a whim
Oh my
because I wanted
God.
to see if these guys get Hellraiser, what are we dealing with there? So that was my one and only expectations. I knew nothing else. I didn't even read what was on the description on the DVD cover. I just got the disc, put it in, went in knowing absolutely nothing. Yeah, that was right. So no, you're not overselling it. I think no one can see that movie and not come out profoundly disturbed or changed by it. And the ending, the beauty with the ending, as I'm sure that Dave is about to say now, is that it's going to be entirely your own life and what you put into it.
Yes.
That decides how how you read into that ending. You said you got something positive out of it. I don't know how the hell you got that out of it, but yeah.
And
Well,
Andre,
because they were right.
You're 100% right. I did. It was like I was with the movie, and then there was a point where I was not with the movie, and then it got to the ending, and I'm like, oh, I'm with this movie, and
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about being with this movie as much as I am. But that's the thing. I loved going in so blind, and what I miss in today's culture, and because of the internet and everything else, we can, unless you really make an effort not to know anything about a movie that you want to see, you're gonna have stuff like spill over to you.
Yeah.
What I miss is being able to go to the video store and just look at a cover or something. It was funny. This week I was talking about the movie Basket Case. And I remember just going, and here's this movie on the shelf. And it's like, well, it's a horror movie. Let's rent this. And then renting it, not knowing anything, and then going, oh my God.
I saw it in the theater.
You lucky bastard. Basket Case rules. It's so fucking great in its own way, and it's in the discovery of it, because it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. It's so crazy. It shouldn't work, but it works. But that's part of the thing that I miss, and what I feel that I'm doing more and more is trying to know less about movies that I want to see.
Me too. Like I really went into Infinity War and Endgame pretty much spoiler free. Yeah. And it was a chore. Like I'm like, oh, there's a trailer, let me watch that. Oh, there's an op-ed piece, let me read that. I mean, I don't care really so much about spoilers, but for those two movies in particular, I really wanted to, growing up as a Marvel comic book fan since I was a little kid, Infinity War and Endgame, problems aside, I mean, I never thought I would ever see anything like that as long as I lived. And I can't believe watching, the whole opening of Infinity War with Thanos on the Asgardian ship cracking Loki's neck, and watching the Hulk. I'm like, it was so, it was like watching every childhood fantasy I've ever had, more so than even like watching the first Iron Man, which I thought was good. But by the time you get to Infinity War and Endgame, they're so far into the realm of peak comic book crossover summer event. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm seeing this shit. But and so I had to work at it. I'm like, I really, and it was hard for like a year. I'm not going to watch this shit. I don't want to know anything about this, as little as I can. It was really hard, because I'll read anything.
But it's so rewarding when you do that.
I know.
And the thing is, it would be like getting the last issue of Crisis on Infinite Earths after you got the first issue. And you go, oh, here's how it ends.
Yeah,
it's like,
dude. No.
It's all about.
I was, by the way, you brought that up. I've got the box set of Crisis right here.
Of course.
When that came out because as a lifelong DC fan, I think the only other thing I anticipated more, there are two movies that I anticipated more in my entire life. One was Star Trek The Motion Picture. That was the number one film I anticipated in my life. And the second was The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Those are the two movies that the hype was real. I had a little calendar on my bedroom door counting down Star Trek The Motion Picture's release date over a year in advance. But nowadays Nothing is surprising. You've read articles about it. We cover it. We talk about it ad infinitum on the internet. Now, wait a minute. I just want to say, Andre, Jared M. Snyder sends in a tip and says, "Thank you, Andre, for the wonderful video on the Phantom."
Oh,
what, the Billy Zane Phantom?
yeah. Oh, I'm happy that you liked it. Actually, there's a new version of that is coming in conjunction with the movie's 25th anniversary, which is this year. Actually, working right now on a Redux Ultimate retrospective of that movie, incorporating everything that was in the two previous ones.
Well, Jared says that, so thank you. And he also says, by the way, the Bad Brains Great Fearless Vampire Killers is totally metal. Maybe the best hardcore song about a film. Bad Brains song about the Fearless Vampire Killers. And then
nice.
Says, I love the balloon globe scene as the dictator tries to manipulate the world. That's from Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator.
Oh, yeah.
And now, for us, Saberwolf sends in a tip and says, I can always watch Freddy versus Jason. I loved it. The question for you, Rob, Dave, and Andre. Who really wins, Freddy or Jason?
Who's carrying the head?
Yeah, I agree entirely with that interpretation.
I don't care. I don't care if that burn-up bastard
wink as much as he wants. He was decapitated. He can't do no more.
You know who really wins?
We do.
The audience wins.
Yeah.
Because it's whatever you want. But I'm a Jason guy. I love, and the thing is, I'll fully acknowledge the Nightmare movies are better movies. They're way more creative. The worlds they create and everything else, way more creative. But I started with Jason. I'm a Jason guy. Though Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, is scarier than any Friday the 13th movie could ever be. So there we go. Look, we all win. We all win. It doesn't matter who wins. We all win.
Well, listen, Andre, it's almost 1. And we have our guest for tonight coming in, and I want to thank you for being here with us. Obviously, Andre is the man, the myth, the legend behind the Midnight's Edge channel that I feel both proud and honored to even know the man and all the people of that channel. I was a big fan of Midnight's Edge before I even knew any of them, and to have Andre on this show is a true honor. So, sir, you're a gentleman and a scholar. And having you on Midnight Metal as a now regular fixture has been a real treat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here. And before I go, I have to give one final recommendation.
Oh, please.
In terms of music, there's something very, very metal that was released this last week.
Oh.
We started me coming in talking about Rammstein. So on that note, in between their gigs and their albums, Till Lindemann, the vocalist of Rammstein, he has a solo career going on. And earlier this week, he released a new solo single. The music video is absolutely metal, and it's a full-on movie production. Well worth seeing. So just look for that. Till Lindemann, and the video is called Ich hasse Kinder, which means I hate children.
Okay.
So do check that out. You won't regret it.
That's awesome.
Well, Andre, thank you for being here, and you can find Andre and all of the goings-on the Midnight's Edge channel, and we have a great show coming up on the 10th of this month, the 10th of June, which is Thursday. It is a retrospective of the film Stand and Deliver, and we have both Lou Diamond Phillips and Edward James Olmos will be guests on Midnight's Edge, and they've graciously asked me to co-moderate the panel, and I am very excited to do so. So thank you. Come on,
man! You get to hang with Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yeah, man, the first power,
first power, the big hit, hit.
I know. I can't
wait. Most underrated action comedy ever, maybe.
Well, I will tell him that.
I love Lou Diamond Phillips. He's awesome.
Look forward to it. With that, gentlemen, I bid you farewell and wish you a great rest of the show.
Andre, thank you so much for being here.
Awesome.
Take care.
All right.
Hey, Rob, before we bring our guest on, can you hold the fort for a minute so I can do some business?
I'm going to read an article.
You read an article. I will be right back.
Do some business.
Thank you.
I will allow you to do that. All right, everyone. So our guest tonight, our second guest on Midnight Metal, a guest that I'm really looking forward to talking to. Let me just read an article that appeared in Esquire magazine on June 2nd by Dave Holmes. And the article is entitled, "They Made a Horror Movie in 5 Weeks on a Dare. Now it's a cult favorite." So I'm going to read this article. Hours before Dementia Part Two premiered at Chicago's Music Box Theater in 2017, co-director Matt Mercer was still finalizing the sound mix. In Los Angeles, quote, "I was sound designing it right up until that morning until finally I just crossed my fingers and hit export," Mercer says. "My flight was in 3 hours and the export said 2.5 hours, but he got the movie on a drive, made the flight, arrived at the theater with minutes to spare, and hit play for a packed theater of people who had no idea what they were in for." Mercer didn't either. Quote, "I had not slept," he laughs, "in like a week." That's what happens when you make a full movie from blank page to big screen in a month. One of the freakiest, funniest, and most purely joyful horror films to come along in years, Mercer and Mike Teston's Dementia Part Two, now out on VOD after a 3-year tour of festivals and an unexpected theatrical run. It's gross, it's secretly subversive, and somehow it makes perfect sense that it was made on a bet. Back in 2017, Josh Goldblum, the founder of Chicago horror festival Cinepocalypse, bumped into film producer J.D. Lefschitz with an idea. His fest was 5 weeks off. His lineup was about to be announced. And he made a proposal. If Lifshitz could get a genre movie made in that time, from idea to finished product, he'd give that movie a plum midnight slot. The terms stipulated that the production could only begin upon the announcement of the festival's lineup. The movie needed to be feature-length, and then, just to amp up the degree of difficulty, it needed to be titled Dementia Part 2. He took the bet, and then ran to find Teston, who had directed 2015's Dementia, and Mercer, with whom he'd worked with on the zombie STD No Really cult movie Contracted, which I actually own, to convince them to make that movie. "I said no," Mercer laughs, "but Teston won him over. I thought he'd be a good experiment in what we could pull off," he says. "Plus, you know what? Why am I reading this article? You know why? I don't have to read this article anymore. And you know why that is, Dave? Let me tell you. You know why? I'm going to tell you why I don't have to read this article anymore. Because Matt Mercer is going to be on this show. He's going to be on this show. And if you give me a moment, I'm going to put him in, Coach.
Oh, I can see him. I can see that Charles Manson lookalike.
Well, we're gonna bring Matt Mercer, but now you've got a little bit of a preamble, a little bit of context to understand, like, what is this all about? So, and by the way, he is definitely looking the part. I love the mise en scène.
He's got his lighting on point, man.
Oh man, it is terrific. So, just give me a minute, Dave. Is there anything you'd like to say before I bring him in? Any? I mean, you reached out to him. Did you know him? Did you just randomly call him and say, "Bruh, come on our show"? Like, what's up?
No, I've been lucky to know Matt for a number of years now, and we've worked together on a short film recently, and we want to do more. And we've just been friends for a good number of years now, and he's one of the people that actually keeps me going in this business, where there is a lot of hurdles and roadblocks, and Matt's enthusiasm and tolerance for a lot of my bullshit really
and there is a lot of bullshit, Dave. You know,
the more you guys watch, if you do watch, the more you'll figure that out.
Let's bring him in. Why are we waiting? He's waiting.
I'm sorry.
Why are we wasting valuable time?
I can say this all to his face. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gentle beings, kind souls, however you identify across these 28 known galaxies, please welcome, clap loud. I mean, we can't hear it, but I want to imagine everybody across the planet watching this to clap for Mr. Matt Mercer, director of Dementia Part 2. Mr. Matt Mercer, let me ask you a question. Are you feeling fucking metal tonight, dude, or what?
You better.
I'm feeling so fucking metal. I mean, look at how this is lit. I am looking very Manson-esque. I've got the backlight back here, and I've got my red desk lamp on, which looks more menacing than I expected.
Oh, dude, it's perfect. My God. This is, first of all, let me just welcome you to Midnight Metal. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us. Thank you so very much for your time. And this is a crazy story, but I wanted to ask you to start with, Dave, if I might.
Of course.
You know, on this channel, we call the viewers here imagination connoisseurs, as opposed to
actually,
geeks.
we call them the Rockin' Metal Brethren.
Okay, the rockin', yes, but I mean,
the RMBs.
That's
the
a
RMBs.
The rockin'. I never thought of it. The rock. You're right, but that's a subset. But I mean, overall, you know, the imagination connoisseurs can be part of the Rockin' Metal Brethren. Boy, I love that, Dave. Did you just make that shit up?
Hey, man.
I love the Rockin' Metal Brethren. I love it. But so, Matt, if you could give us a little bit of background, what was your journey into becoming an imagination connoisseur, somebody who loves science fiction, fantasy, horror, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you wanted to like study semiotics. I don't know. How did you become how did you become a fan, a genre fan? What were some of your first loves?
Yeah. Gosh, I really just grew up loving horror films, and I remember, I think the sort of gateway film, as it is for a lot of people, was Jaws, and I watched that at a very young age. I was probably 7 years old, and then I started asking my parents, well, what are some of the scariest movies you've ever seen, which led to Halloween and Alien, and I just fell in love with being scared by these films and the technique behind them. And I think, my parents were separated by that time. They were eventually got divorced, but my mom was always the one choosing kind of the classier stuff like Halloween and Alien. And my dad would rent sort of the knockoff stuff. So I got a nice wide swath of all the different subgenres and different films that were made at that time. And, this was at the height of, this was the 80s, so it was a lot of great stuff coming out and the height of the VHS boom. So I would just try to convince them to rent anything that had cool box art,
Right. That's a running theme in tonight's show.
Yeah.
Was there any film that you rented with cool box art that lived up to that promise? What was a film that you didn't know?
Man.
What was a film that blew you away, that you didn't have any expectations for or didn't necessarily know about?
Yeah. I got to say, the first one that pops in my head that sort of, I remember renting it and it just sort of shook me to the core because I'd never seen anything like it. And I didn't know you could do these kinds of practical makeup effects in a film, was probably Day of the Dead, which, man, that one really, really got me. Savini's effects. I feel like that was Tom Savini, the makeup artist who did it. It was at the height of his powers, and there's stuff in that.
That was his peak. That was definitely his peak.
I agree.
That was his Everest.
Yeah, I agree. And the box art on that, I think that if I remember correctly, the box art was
Bub.
Was Bub, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it was Bub. I was trying to remember the actor's name, Howard Sherman, maybe.
Yep.
But it was just so. It was very striking, simple, iconographic art, and I tended to sort of lean toward those. And I just remember watching it, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I was definitely still, most people consider probably far too young of an age to see it. But I just remember the big climax at the end when, there's the scene where the guy is getting his head pulled off and there's the skin sort of peels back from his eyeball.
Oh,
and then when his head gets actually pulled off,
different guy.
That's a different actor.
Different guy. That's
both of them got
let's be really nerdy. That's Tasso. That's Tasso.
Oh, that was Tasso?
That was Tasso. Who gets
Savini's,
sorry, guys.
Big assistant, right? All right, two different guys, but both of those effects combined really shook me. And the vocal cords being stretched and the way they pitched up was just like, it was just almost too much for my brain to handle. But I also loved it. I loved it. I'm trying to think of other box art examples. I don't know. Halloween 2 was one that the skull and the pumpkin. I mean, it was anything that had kind of an iconographic bent, but also looked really kind of gross.
That Halloween 2 artwork, the pumpkin skull.
Yeah.
Halloween was the first movie I ever owned on pre-recorded tape. I when I was 13.
Oh, really?
Rob's a little older than we are.
Yeah, I'm older. I'm an old man with one foot in the grave. But getting that tape, I mean, I probably watched that movie 100 times. And again, you know what? It's funny when I talked about my most anticipated movies. Both Day of the Dead and Halloween 2 are up there because of how much I loved the original. And that poster when that came out, because that was the poster. It was the pumpkin with the skull. And it was like, you see, I'm like, and by then I was collecting movie posters, so I had that on the wall of my bedroom for the longest time, and I loved Halloween 2.
Me too.
I loved it.
And what kills me is you had the original Halloween poster, like the original.
I did.
You did. I would kill. I mean, the amount of money that is worth now. But
I know. But I gave you my original Evil Dead poster.
Thanks to you, I have an original theatrical Evil Dead poster.
Well, nowadays, I mean, I didn't realize if I had kept my movie poster collection. I mean, I got rid of so many. I still have.
You'd be rich.
Yeah, I mean, I had all of those posters, but it was, I was a Fangoria kid, and I think we all were. It was and being older. I mean, I remember the day I bought. I know exactly. It's not there anymore, but there was a bookseller called B. Dalton Books. And I went to downtown Seattle, and it was right underneath the monorail. There was a huge B. Dalton Books. That's where I bought Fangoria #1. Wow. I was like, and for those of you who don't know, trivia alert: who was on the cover of Fangoria? Don't you guys answer? You know who was on the cover? Who was on the cover of Fangoria #1? It was Godzilla.
Well, you ruined it.
Sorry.
You should have let them win, but they could have won a prize. We would have sent that. We would have sent something.
I know. You know what? I gave away this 4K version of.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I didn't want it.
Dude, it was the lovely Emma Bannon did send it to me to give away on the channel. Tony Reyes won it, but
that's great. Congratulations, Tony. Fuck you. No,
but I think when Fangoria people don't remember, but when Fangoria magazine changed the landscape of horror fandom. Before you had Famous Monsters and the puns and all that, but Fangoria was clearly covering movies that, and presenting films in such a way where they were making Tom Savini a hero, Rob Bottin, and so I think the world of horror fandom changed with Fangoria magazine more so than has ever been really. You can't even speak to that. Did you read? Were you a Fangoria kid? Were you reading Fangoria magazine every month?
Yeah, I did. I loved it. I came to it a little bit later, but it just fed that I wanted to know more about how these effects were done, and they would always show and explain the best gore moments in movies, and they would show pictures that just whetted your appetite. You couldn't wait to see the movie after you saw what was in the magazine, and I feel like they always got stills that weren't anywhere else too.
Right.
I loved it, and it took a lot of convincing sometimes to get my parents to buy me issues, but yeah, I would get them. I would definitely, needle them until they would get help, buy them for me. Yeah.
So what was your journey to becoming a filmmaker? It was something that you always knew you were going to do? Like, how did you get on that track?
Well, I started as an actor, and I went to school for acting. I went to college, to an acting program, and it was, I always, like I said, I grew up loving horror, and my aim was always to be in horror stuff. Like I was always even after I graduated from college, I was pursuing horror movie auditions. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I was the only actor I knew who would really gun for the low budget horror movie auditions until I finally, started getting cast in them. But in terms of filmmaking, I was also interested in the process when I was a kid. And I think the first directors I pretty early on, I think, understood that there was a director, there was somebody who was overseeing all of this stuff. I didn't really understand how it worked. So I would get, these books on Spielberg and John Carpenter and read them. And then, in high school, I started acting, and I kind of went that direction and went to acting school. But I was always in the back of my head that I would one day like to get behind the camera and start making stuff, and at the very least producing. And then I think when I got cast in the first really lead role I had in a horror film was this little slasher movie called Madison County. And I was watching how they did it, because before that, it always seemed so mysterious and impossible to make a film, especially a horror film. It's just like, how do you get all these people to do this? And, it was just seemed crazy to me, even though I'd even at that point acted in a couple of films that weren't horror films. But when I saw how they made that movie, which was very like bootstraps, low budget, everyone was kind of doing everything. I was like, oh, everyone just sort of, they just kind of have a breakdown of the script, and they make a list of what they need and they go get it, even if they have very little money. And so not long after that, the director of that movie was a guy named Eric England, and he was starting to put together this movie, Contracted, and he needed another producer on it. So I just said, I was just like, I'd love to do it. And he talked to the other producers, who happened to be the producers on Dementia 2, J.D. Lifshitz and Raphael Margulies. And he convinced them to let me come on as like a co-producer and work on that. And that was a crash course. I didn't know what I was doing. And I ended up kind of physically producing a lot of that movie, everything from wardrobe to some of the people we hired to, what else? Just sort of bits and pieces of everything on that movie I had my hands in. And that was really, that kind of swung me back in that direction. And that's when it really jazzed me up to start making stuff on my own. It felt possible suddenly, Wow.
I'm curious so with Madison County, which was easily the first time that I saw you in something, how did you get cast in that film? Because that was a movie that was made not in California, that was made out of state. Yeah. Eric was still a regional filmmaker. So were you out here when that movie was casting? How did that happen?
Yeah, it was cast out here, and it was so low budget. There wasn't a casting director. I think one of the producers on that was also one of the actors in it, a guy named Ace Marrero, who's
that dude's a great guy.
Yeah, super great guy, really good actor. And I think he was coordinating the casting sessions, and I just submitted for it. I don't think I had an agent at that time either. So
you have one now?
I have a commercial agent right now. I actually don't have a theatrical
Oh well, Rob,
agent
he's still a couple steps ahead of us. Yay! No. Anyway, back to the story.
Yeah. I just submitted on, there's the Actors Access, I think is what it was called at that time. Maybe it's still called that, but I submitted on that breakdown service, submitted for the role, and got called in. And I remember I probably seemed really desperate. But I remember saying to Ace in the room, I think Eric was there too, and I just said, God, this is really good. This is a great script. I really like this. I think I could really, do this role. And just pitching myself like way too much. I desperately wanted to be in any horror movie. And I like slasher movies. And I thought that was I thought it would be fun.
Hey,
so it was just, I submitted myself as the answer.
Matt, I'm really curious. Rob hasn't seen Madison County. Could you tell him the quick boilerplate story
yes
of Madison County? Because
are there bridges there?
I think there are. I think he's going to find it a little familiar.
Well, it's about a group of college students who read a book about a legendary killer in the backwoods of Arkansas. And one of the students has been writing to the author of the book, and the author says, "Hey, come and meet me. I'll talk to you about this." So they go there and can't find the guy, and the town is acting very strangely. And soon enough they run into trouble. They run afoul of this killer who wears a pig mask.
I don't recognize anything about that plot, Dave. I don't know why you would think that was something of interest to me. I have no idea.
When I sat at the premiere next to Eric England, the director, and he goes, "Hey man, I don't know if you noticed, but your movie was kind of an inspiration." I'm like, "Really?" didn't pick up on that at all. Not tooting my own horn here, but going, yeah. When you get like, I'm gonna name drop right now. When you get James Wan leaning over and going, "Dude, this is your fucking movie, Mike," and like, I'm like going,
It's the sincerest form of flattery, right?
"Yay!"
You know what? You know what? If there's one
But it
thing
is.
one thing I've learned in L.A., as they say in Star Trek, the
Everyone
L.A. horror
rips off everyone.
the L.A.
That's
horror
what we're
community is one big happy fleet.
Oh yeah,
We are.
Yeah.
We're all
happy.
supportive. We're all supportive.
It's such
Everybody. It's all kumbaya up in this hizzle.
Oh,
Come on.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I actually, for those of you like, I Contracted. I'm a big fan of Contracted. Could you explain to the audience, if they haven't seen Contracted or don't know what is Contracted?
Sure. So it's about a young woman who goes to a party that a friend of hers is throwing, and essentially is date raped by someone there, and the movie takes place over 3 days, and she goes to the doctor because she starts to have some weird symptoms that she at first thinks are an STD, but she's too ashamed of what has happened to like really talk to everybody about it. But as it goes on, she just starts to deteriorate and get worse and worse. And finally, she finds out that it's something much worse than an STD. Something has been passed to her by this fellow who was played by Simon Barrett in the film.
Yeah, Simon Barrett.
Yeah.
Who went full Monty on that movie.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He loves going full Monty. And
really?
Yeah,
you
and
know
I
way more than I do, man. Jesus.
No, I don't.
But I would say, I mean, one of the things I really loved about, like, I'm a huge David Cronenberg body horror fan.
Yeah.
God, I thought you were going to say something different. I'm a huge Simon Barrett nude fan.
No,
But
No,
hey, that's okay.
well,
too.
who isn't?
Happy Pride, everyone. It's Simon
no,
Barrett
it's
month.
I keep going back to look when it comes to things like that. I keep going back to Oliver Stone's The Doors, when Michael Madsen, who plays Joe D'Alessandro, meets Jim Morrison, and Jim Morrison says to Joe, "Hey, I've seen all your movies, man. You got a great penis."
Wait, Michael
And I'm
Madsen played Joe D'Alessandro?
Yeah,
He did?
yeah.
Did I ever tell you I met Little Joe?
I don't think you did.
I've met Joe D'Alessandro.
Whoa.
Wow. Does he have a great
crazy.
penis? I mean, did you tell him that? Like, I
Look,
would have done. I
dude,
would have been like, "Hey, man, I saw you in that movie."
It wasn't the appropriate time. It was not the appropriate time to like.
I think
say
complimenting a
something like
man's
that.
penis, it's always an appropriate time. What can you say?
Maybe it might have been. I didn't feel comfortable in the environment I was in to go, "Hey, you had a great penis."
No. You got to do it like Val Kilmer. It's like,
Well,
hey, man,
I wasn't in that state of mind either, Rob.
I've seen your movies. You got a great penis. That's all I have to say. I mean, that's I don't know why. That's what I'm thinking about.
Felt
Simon
like a little
Barrett.
awkward. Anyway, back
perhaps.
to Contracted.
Yeah, back in track. So, I mean, I love the body horror element of it. I thought it was, in this day, I like it. Transgressive, edgy horror. We don't get much of it now. It's all ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to amend what I said. I said she's too ashamed. She more just doesn't know what's going on with her body, and she doesn't think it's. She goes to the doctor and thinks she has some STD, and it confirms for her that a sexual encounter happened and that she had been drugged. But then it escalates so quickly that she just genuinely doesn't know what to do. And I play this guy in the movie who's like her friend, who's also been pining for her after her for years. Who, I think that was my first sex scene ever in a movie, and it's a doozy. It's quite. Nasty.
And how fun was
on what's
that?
happening?
Yeah, since you brought it up, I mean,
how fun was that shooting that sex scene?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, what is it like? A lot of people don't understand that. I mean, I directed episodes of a Skinamax show on HBO called Femme Fatales, and shooting the sex scenes was always the most to be honest, very excruciating. It's not
Sure.
easy. What was it like
Yeah.
for you as a performer to do that, to shoot a sex scene?
Yeah.
So
Well,
hot, so sexy.
it's so sexy. I mean, it's just the sexiest thing because the conditions are always, very calm and private and perfect for it. No, it's literally the worst. It's very arduous and it's very technical. And you have in that particular scene, it happens on a couch and we're on the back of a couch. And I remember that because of the height of the couch, for starters, you're checking in with the other actor. And I'd known Najara for a while. We'd acted in a couple other things. And I was actually the one who brought her in to audition for it. And she's just such a natural, she's such a great actor. But we were checking in, making sure we were feeling comfortable with everything happening. And then the height of the couch was, it was a little low. So I had to kind of squat. And it was like doing squats for 30 minutes off and on. And I started sweating immediately. And I just remember Eric's off camera, giving me direction, faster.
Oh, no.
Okay, now. And it's the kind of thing where you literally have to plot out the beats and when kissing happens and when you look down. Every beat has to be really plotted out. And then when you add on top of that, the particular height of the couch, and I had to, and the way my legs were bent, my quads were burning so bad. And I was sweating.
So you're losing
so
weight at the
profusely.
same time.
Yeah, and I just felt disgusting. And you suddenly start thinking about, is this what they think I'm like when I actually have sex? And you're putting your sweaty face onto the other actor. And I kept apologizing to Najara because I was just covering her in sweat. It's not sexy. It's anything but sexy. It's not pleasant. It's not sexy. And then one of the lines I had to say, in addition to that, one of the lines Eric had written was, when I start to realize something's off down there and something's going on, I had the line, "Oh my God, it really tingles." And I was like, I have to say this during this scene. And it was just, the whole thing was so, it's ridiculous.
And
That's
what
amazing.
happens to you in this scene? What is the ultimate ending of this scene?
Oh,
for you?
no, Rob. There's a contracted part 2 that you haven't obviously seen.
I have not seen Contracted Part 2.
Yeah.
Which stars our guest.
Oh, well,
That's
then
right.
never mind. I don't want to know. No, I don't want to know.
But we should get more into talking about Dementia Part 2.
Well, yes. I just want look.
No, I know you want to cover the gamut.
I do.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Seeing this is the first time we met. I was very excited to meet you. Now we'll talk about.
Not as excited as when I first met him.
Well,
Wow.
I don't know, Dave. I mean, gosh,
Goodness.
Dave. I've seen your movies. You've got a nice penis.
That's right.
So
That's
Thank
the way
you.
to present it.
Thank
there
you.
you go. So Matt, tell us about Dementia Part 2. I mean, I was reading the Esquire article. I thought it was fascinating. I talked to Dave about this and earlier in the week, and Dave said he knew you and he was going to reach out to you and be on the show. So first of all, thank you for being here. It's a great honor to have you. So tell us about. To be honest, I have not seen Dementia Part 2. I've only watched a trailer. I fucking love that trailer. I'm like, because I didn't know anything. I read this Esquire article that came out this week, and it fascinated me. And I don't know, Dave. I don't know if I mentioned the article to you or you.
No, I
watched.
watched your episode, and the fact that you brought it up, I was like, oh my God, this is the kismet. This is this has to happen because I've been talking about this movie for at least two years.
Yeah,
Matt. It's been
sitting there a little while.
It's been, but the thing is, it's been so inspirational what you guys did, as crazy as the circumstances and everything. The fact that you made it was one thing, but the fact that it's so fucking entertaining and fun and enjoyable, and then on top of that, you're in theaters.
Yeah.
For this movie. So that's why the thing is, I think we have a lot of people who watch this and listen to Rob and watch his multiple episodes of shows that filmmakers who are on the independent level who think they can't do it, or like, oh, we need this, we need that, or anything else, really need to hear from you because you've done it and it's played theaters. I was in a theater and I saw the movie.
I know, just a couple weeks ago. I'm like, I would love to have done that. So I mean, I echo Dave's sentiments. I mean, it's obviously the dream still for every filmmaker. As much as streaming's paying for everything, and we all want to be in theaters. We all want that collective experience. Yeah. You know, and like I produced a film that I worked on for 5 years that's playing its first live. It's been on the festival circuit for 6 months. It's playing in a theater in Brooklyn this week on the 10th, and I'm not going to be in Brooklyn. I'm not going to be there. And to see well, yeah, but just I you know, to make a movie, when you've made a movie and people are watching it, it's like, I've tried to explain to people that, you know, whenever someone watches your movie, you don't get like a bell that's rung in your house. There's no like ding. Right. An audience member watch your movie like, oh my God, somebody watched The Hills Run Red. Ding. You know, we don't get that. You know, you make a movie and you finish working on it. It goes out into the ether and it's gone. Yeah. Like Kaiser Soze. He's gone. You know, and you made this movie, and now, first of all, let me ask you this. Esquire magazine writes this article.
Yeah.
You're in fucking wild. Esquire, bruh. Esquire. Like, who gets an Esquire magazine? Like, that would be a dream of mine. Like, I'd pay people hundreds of thousands of dollars to write an article about me in Esquire. You are an Esquire magazine. Or Esquire Online. What was that like?
That's why Matt Mercer is who he is.
That's right. No, it's wild. I could not have expected that, and it's also such a well-written article. Well, I'm sort of lucky in one regard. Is the guy who wrote it is Dave Holmes, and he is a good friend of mine. And much like Dave Parker, he really likes the movie and thinks he thought the story behind it was interesting and just kind of wild because of the way we made it and how quickly we had to make it, and just the sort of you know, all the hurdles that usually accompany a movie that has a regular schedule, they were all just crammed into 5 days. Yeah. And I think that he just went to the Culture Esquire and said, "We think about this." I think the way it works is he's a writer for Esquire, and he goes in and pitches a few things every week. And he went and told him about it, and he was like, yes to that one. That's an interesting story. And Dave wrote it. What I didn't expect was apparently it has a ton of views. Like, it really did blow up. Like, I've heard from so many people I couldn't have expected that have read it, and the view numbers on it are apparently staggering. So that's very exciting and unexpected. So
yeah, I read it.
Dave is just such a good. You did, yeah,
yeah. I mentioned on the show, I found the article very inspiring.
Yeah, I didn't tell Raw about the article or the movie. He found it on his own, wild. and that's when I was like, "Oh shit! Well, guess what? You know, I happen to know this really important person." And
oh God, come on!
But that's the thing. I mean, but Matt, you're gonna like downplay this, but the thing is, you are really inspiring a vast amount of people now with this movie and what it is. And the fact of the matter is, not only the crazy story about how it got made, but the fact that the movie is really entertaining. It's really good. And it deserves this midnight movie cult classic sort of thing that it's becoming. I mean, this movie ranks up there with like Eating Raoul and those type of movies.
Nice pull, bro. I love Paul Bartel. Wow, Mary Warnoff.
But it's as entertaining as that movie in its own way.
Thank you.
So you always downplay it, but I'm telling you, this is an important thing, and it's an important movie for people to know. And I'm so glad that it's getting this attention.
Yeah. What I think. If there's this show, Midnight Metal, started out as a ridiculous lark, and what I find interesting about it, I think there's an undercurrent of supporting indie horror, That's what I think. There's nothing more midnight metal, because I sit there and I can scream in my drunken voice, "Fuck yeah, midnight metal!" Ah! But really, what we're interested in is supporting, I think, and with Dave and I together, emergent indie horror, and I think back to Los Bros Pierce, who made The Wretched, and that was a movie that.
Who is watching right now? Who is in the room?
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, Brett's here. Brett's here.
And Brett, I didn't know Brett Pierce. First of all, the Pierce brothers are like two of the nicest guys I've ever met. But beyond that, I loved The Wretched. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I'm like, Brett's been on this channel and seeing. Like when I read that Esquire article, I'm like, oh my god, I had no idea Dave knew you, and I'm like, this is so interesting, this is so amazing. And in the article was embedded the trailer for Dementia Part Two, and I'm like, this movie. I watched the trailer, I'm like, oh, I'm fucking in, I'm in.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I'm in.
Yeah, he I am fortunate to know him, but the other fortunate thing is he told the story so well, because it's not an easy story to distill how the movie got made. And I appreciate you saying that it's inspiring. I really appreciate that.
It really is.
Thank you. It was really daunting going into it. But as we started to do it, it didn't take long to feel like, to feel the fun of doing it. Like, we just had a blast making it. And probably despite the stress of that compressed timeline, it was just so fun to show up and just see your friends every day and see what you came up with next. And in that way, it was sort of, I guess, metal or even kind of punk, because it was.
It's a very that's the thing. Dementia 2 is a very punk rock movie. More than a metal movie, it's very punk rock.
Yeah,
in the way it was made.
Exactly, in the way it was made. It was very. We had a script. We wrote a script very quickly, but we didn't always adhere to it, because we really wanted input from the actors and everyone on set. That's whatever 6 or 7 people that were there, and so we just tried to listen to everybody, and if someone had an idea, we'd throw it in. And I think everyone on it understood the tone, and so it was kind of like riffing off of each other, but also bringing the things we needed, like intestines, like we need some intestines and some organs and tons of chocolate syrup, because this has got to be gross. And the most important thing,
because it's black and white, so chocolate syrup fills in for blood.
Exactly. Yeah, it's perfect for blood in black and white. And in addition to that, the most important thing that I can't recommend enough when I did my makeup shopping for the movie is Ultra Slime, which is a very cheap thing, and it takes very little of it to make something look gooey, and it just strings out all over the place, and it's very viscous. And if you add that to anything, you suddenly have a much better effect. So I've been.
Did you need that on Contracted?
We could use more of it on Contracted.
But the thing is, what I'm going to say is this: Matt's very humble. Matt's a really, really gifted actor, and the thing is, when you watch this movie, you have to remember they made this movie, and this is now open. They made the movie in 5 days.
Right.
And they made it on a script that, Matt, am I wrong? You said it was 50 pages?
Yeah, like 50. I think it was 54.
It was it was like an elaborated outline, maybe some dialogue, but a lot of the dialogue was improvised. Correct?
Yeah, some of it was. Suzanne and Graham in particular came up with some amazing stuff to increase the runtime.
So when you watch that, and the thing is, the true test of it is the fact that you can watch the movie and never know any of this and really enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
When you know that, you go, holy shit, because I did something similar with an outline and no script and fell flat on my ass if you look at the movie comparatively. And you look at this, and the thing is, it's like you realize when people really have a real grasp of what they're doing, and a talent that shines, then you get something. That's the thing. Why I wanted to push this on the show tonight is it's a very special movie. It really is.
Oh man.
People don't know. And the thing is, this guy is a, hopefully not for long, very hidden treasure as far as acting goes. I mean, he's a multi hyphenate because he writes, he directs, he edits. He's a great editor as well.
By the way, Matt, you're going to be receiving a letter on Monday from Dave's agent saying you owe him 10% of everything.
Except I don't have an agent, which he knows, so it doesn't matter.
No, you're his agent. It's fine. I'm just,
That's right. Yeah. Keep talking to him. I'm going to slip some $100 bills in your pocket. Just like,
wait.
Like, make it rain. Make it rain.
You have $100 bills, Matt? Well, then.
No.
All right. But I'm just saying, again, it's just this whole thing is so inspirational, and everything that you've done, and it's so nice to see, Rob. Like we always talk about these things, good people shine.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you. I have to reiterate though, it is a influence. I mean, a lot of these things I learned, like editing and having to write, and that's years of like having to do it because there's nobody else to do it,
right?
And no money to do it. But also, it's a confluence of the right people. The biggest thing is when you get the exact right people, like these actors, and also Mike Teston, who co-directed it with me and was the cinematographer.
We can't like. Mike is amazing as well as the co-director, co-writer, co-producer, the director of photography. That guy is amazing as well.
I mean, what he was pulling with, one of the most fortunate things, another fortunate thing is that Mike does own his own camera, and I think at that time it was a Red Dragon. Excuse me, and. So that's great. We got a camera, but it's all in how you use the camera, what lenses you use, how you use lights. And one of the great things about Mike is that house we shot in is gorgeous. It's this gorgeous big old craftsman house, but it wasn't like that designed. We did some things, but for the most part, it's pretty much how it was. And there are very, shot to shot, there were pretty big swaths of white walls. And so you have to come up with ways to make that more interesting. And one of the great things about Mike is I think we had 3 LED panels and a couple of lights we'd borrowed from this company called Felix, who makes these LED lights that are really great. They're bright and they don't take up too much energy or get too hot. We had 5 small lights. But Mike is so good at where to put them and adding texture to walls with, self-made cookies, things you put over the light to give it texture, like it's coming through blinds or tree branches. He would go rip a tree branch off a tree outside and put it in front of a light outside. Like that's all. I mean, that kind of stuff comes with experience from someone like Mike. So when you get Mike involved and our sound mixer, Alex Hutchinson, Hutch, and those actors, you have someone like Graham step in playing Reggie Bilford, who's a big slime ball, who immediately thought Dennis Franz and can nail De Palma-esque Dennis Franz. It's like,
man.
It's just
and that's the other thing, Rob. Graham Skipper is one of the another one of these gems of an actor. He also directs as well. Yeah. But here's another guy who needs to be up there. Pat Healy is a guy who's crossed over now, and he's done much bigger
dozens
films.
of things. Sure,
he's much, but Matt, Graham, these guys are next in line. These guys need to be and will be doing much bigger things.
Yes, and
I 100% mean that. I mean, I always like Matt came over for a night and did my bullshit short. I feel so fortunate for that.
It felt like doing the movie. I mean, you're in the same boat, dude. I mean, you're very creative and with tight resources as well. Stop it.
Well, I think, look, the fact is, what I find really interesting about our modern age is the technology that we have now if you want to be a filmmaker, there is no reason. Like, I think to myself, I wake up every morning and I think, what am I shooting today? And the answer is, well, nothing. And I'm like, but why aren't I? In all the technology that exists, I should be shooting movies every single day. And I why aren't we? And when people do that, like the challenge that you made for yourselves to make this film, you had this paradigm you had to work within and fulfill it, which is probably what made you guys so creative and so interesting. I mean, like on this show, we made up the fact that we were gonna like try and raise money for 3 horror films.
Well, we're
David
going to
would
address that later. We're going to address this.
Yeah, but yes, which I think we should still do. The problem is, as I looked into it, I spent a lot of time looking into it, and I even reached out to the Pierce brothers. I'm like, it's one thing to make something up on a drunken night on YouTube, but when you actually have to like, you're going to raise millions of dollars, like that's what you're going to do, and you're going to make these movies, there are logistical and legal concerns you have to take into consideration.
Well, which, by the way, I was just going to call Matt. So,
well, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, look, it has to be done, and it's not it has to be done correctly. But when you make films,
I was going to call him at 11:55. Oh. And he gets it, and you get it, and no one else does. Sorry, guys.
No, 11:55.
11:55.
I think
you know what?
One more story.
If I can ever
one of the great jump scares ever. I love that.
If I can afford to register a production company, it's going to be called. It's going to be called 11:55.
Oh my
dude!
If we do
the whole raise hellathon for real, it's our limited liability corporation will be 11:55 Productions.
Yes,
and how great will that logo?
You're just have to go with KAB Films.
No, how great would be the logo would be
taking it.
The logo would be the hand grabbing you would see the clock ticking. And the hand would grab
hell
it.
Yeah.
And then it'll be 11:50. That's the shit, man. By the way, I'm going to go on Fiverr and have that logo designed right now.
God damn it. No, it's mine. I came up with it. It's copyrighted, trademark right now. Trademark.
Dude, it's already trademarked. Everything that comes out of my mouth is instantly trademarked. And
I came out with it, though.
I have an AI. Doesn't matter. You're on my channel. It's Rob's. It's sorry. Look, we'll all own the trademark. Don't worry. Even Matt Mercer is part of the trademark of this. Dave.
Right. Hell yeah! Putting 11:55 in front of my next
11:55.
I've always wanted to license I've always loved the Avco Embassy logo.
Oh my god, it's so good.
That's like my favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite of the old.
Because Phantasm, Escape from New York, The Fog.
I'm nerding out right now, but 11:55 films, and then it goes. Time for one more story,
dude. That's it. That's the best thing ever, dude. You know what? I'm sending that shit to the copyright office tomorrow. Fuck y'all. We're all gonna be.
I'm gonna beat you to it.
No, I'm gonna put all of our names in.
I'm doing it now.
And I'm putting the Pierce brothers in on that. So it's Matt, me, you, the Pierce brothers.
There we go.
Is there one person that we want to like work with in the future? We'll just add their name, like Robert De Niro. Yeah. Like we'll just put him in. Hey, he's part of our production company.
Like papers one day.
Yeah, why not?
What the fuck is this?
You know what? You know what? I can get Adrian Barbeau to say the voiceover for that shit.
Oh my god, that would be that would be the logo. That would be the logo.
So I win.
Well, we can't get John Houseman. We can't. I'd love to get
John Houseman.
Although we could license his voice and sample him.
There you go.
Time for one more story. By the way, El Necron sends in a super chat and says, "Been arguing this with friends. Hell awaits or Rain of Blood?
Rain in Blood."
Oh, he said Rain of. Oh, pardon me, Rain in Blood. Sorry. Yes, that's me.
Rain in Blood, for me.
I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah.
How you
Why,
feeling
Dave?
now,
Why?
El
Why?
Necron? How you feeling now, El Necron? At least I answered it. God damn it!
I was thinking, but I wasn't thinking Slayer songs. I was thinking movies. I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, you forgot it was Midnight Metal.
Yeah, I understand that, but
You-
I still
you
need
might have
some
slipped.
context.
You're wearing a phaser shirt.
No, this is not a. Okay, yeah, it
What
might
is
be.
that?
Get
Well,
this.
it's a laser gun.
Yeah,
Pew,
okay.
pew.
It's from Mr. You know what? This is a guy who collects vintage blasters. I mean, I love this shirt.
Pew.
Make fun. What shirt are you wearing, Dave?
Black, like my heart, and
black.
like metal, fucker.
I'll show you the top of mine, and you have
Yeah.
to guess. You have to guess what it is.
Oh, American Werewolf, Slaughtered Lamb.
There it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
El
but-
Necron goes, I knew you would, Dave.
Well, that's good. Now here's the thing.
That's right.
But do you have the turbine 4K of American Werewolf?
No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah, I
have
just
to
have
admit
the arrow. I have the
I
lily.
do.
it. I have the arrow.
Oh, I get the turbine. What's
I don't have the turbine.
It's in 4K, bro. Come on.
I've watched it.
Yeah.
I've watched it at a friend's house, but I do not have it.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
get back to talking to Matt about the making of movies.
Yes, I'm sorry. We digressed.
No, I
A lot.
like digression, please.
Yeah, well,
Um,
Matt,
what were your inspirations? Your inspirations for Dementia 2? What were the movies that you were like, oh, we want to be this, and this?
yeah.
Okay. Before I say this, I want to apologize. I feel like my computer fan is so loud. Can you hear that? Is it just
No.
overpowering?
Oh
No,
my
your
God,
voice-
I didn't want to say anything, but
I can
holy
hear it. So-
Fuck. I mean, it's like Mothra is fucking just right by your head.
Matt, don't worry about it. The dulcet
kidding,
tones
I'm
of your
kidding,
rich
I'm
voice are you have a chocolatey velvet quality to your voice.
Ooh.
Don't worry about your
damn.
He
fan.
does.
No one
and
can
he's
hear
got
it.
a Manson
Better now.
and he's got a Manson-esque feel to his look right now.
That's right. I do. Manson with dulcet tones.
'Cause it's
Thank
very
you.
metal.
Wow. This
I
is
know.
amazing. So
But
the
he's doing it for a
inspiration-
part. He's doing it for a role.
That's right. Yeah, this is
Ooh.
for a role, but I might
We'll
keep
go.
it. We'll see what happens.
We'll just
might keep
say
it.
it's for a role. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. We'll say. But anyway,
The inspirations, yes. So the inspirations. So because of the nature of, again, the speed of it, we thought, well, let's just go 60s Roger Corman with this. We're shooting in 4 days, single location, or 5 days really total. And so we were thinking about things like Little Shop of Horrors and
Yeah.
things like that. But in addition to that, I think when Mike and I kind of, Teston and I have kind of a similar sensibility in terms of our sense, but there are differences too. We both love early Sam Raimi, so
Yeah.
some of the gags we were kind of aiming for that sort of Evil Dead 2, definitely some Peter Jackson in there, Dead Alive or Brain Dead, depending on where you're from. And then in addition to that, though, we play with, even though it's black and white, we do play with color a little bit as the movie goes on. And I think some of that sensibility definitely came from Guy
Schindler's
Madden.
List.
Oh, yeah.
Schindler's List for sure, the red coat. Yeah, absolutely. But
No,
Mike
it's
loves
funny you
Guy
cite
Madden.
Guy Madden. I love that you cite him because he's a very interesting
Yeah.
filmmaker that I don't think he doesn't get a lot of shout outs in America, and he should.
Guy's a very very art house filmmaker.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
why. But he is an important filmmaker. What's
No,
the?
and if anyone-
what was it November? What was the one that he did with the images? The horse, the frozen horse. I remember he did a Dracula thing as well. That was
He did, yeah. Well, the one we were
Keyhole?
keying off of the most was saddest music in the world, and the
Yeah.
way he played
Oh,
with color
yeah.
in that. There's another one he did recently, and the title's escaping me. That is about, I believe, San Francisco. It has a lot of greens. He's got this weird. There's a sort kind of a throwback, sort of a noirish quality to a lot of his stuff, and sort of but also he plays with time, I think is what I'm trying to say. And I think even though Dementia 2 takes place in present day, that sort of playing with time vibe, like, for example, Saddest Music in the World, not only does he have splotches of color in there, reds and greens, and just sort of you know, the way he did the color, there's just these random scenes of just one thing is the color of that thing, kind of like Sin City is, you know, the way Sin City was too with Yellow Bastard and all that. But there's also this sort of 30s quality to that movie. And I think we wanted to have a quality of, because we're kind of getting into Suzanne's mind and some of the things that she's thinking about from the past, we sort of wanted that vibe a little bit in the movie. So there's some Guy Madden in there. We just fucking blatantly rip off Friday the 13th Part 2 incessantly with the credits and some of the plot beats.
No, why Friday the 13th Part 2?
Well, I was working my way back through the series, I think, at that moment, and we really like the how there's a lot of Jason in that movie being obsessed with it. Like he's very malleable. His character responds to what he thinks is his mother, and he keeps his mother's head. And at the end of it, Amy Steele, there's that whole scene where she's pretending to be his mother, and we had this whole sort of thing happen in the movie that we thought that would be funny.
I love it.
Not rip
I
that
love
off,
that.
but like homage that. So that one in particular. And I also think that's my favorite of I tempt a lot of the movie with the Manfredini score from that particular movie, because I think that might be my favorite of all the Manfredini scores. And also I wanted part 2 to explode through the title, just like it does in Friday the 13th
Right.
Part 2. So we did that. It's just, there's no rhyme or reason to this. I mean, this is the most stream of conscious movie. So as I talk about these influences, it's really just, oh, I like that thing. How about that? And, you know,
which is awesome, because it becomes very apparent when you're watching the movie. But
yeah,
the thing is, the mix of like, oh, well, they're in black and white. So, they're trying to do Little Shop of Horrors or Carnival of Souls or something. No.
Yeah. There's some of that.
But then you see the credit, but then you see the opening credits and you go, oh, clearly that's a Friday the 13th thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch the movie and oh, well, there's a little bit of Evil Dead in there. There's a little bit of Peter Jackson in there. That's the thing. The movie is what works, which is crazy given the time, is the fact that the movie is this amalgam of all these things, and it works really really well.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it is weird how that happened, and I think, I mean, if I had to pick the presiding tone, it has to be that sort of 80s midnight movie with a 60s palette. I mean, that's really what it falls into. I think the Romero, it obviously comes closest to Night of the Living Dead, because that's the black and white zombie movie that he made, but also those sort of Guy Madden and even a couple of kind of like Lynchian asides in the movie. We kind of go into Suzanne's mind in one scene and her reminiscing about herself younger when she was a dancer. And that's literally, we shot that on a stage, a black box stage in a dark room. It's just, you know, lit very simply with one key light.
Yeah.
And so it's very, it kind of gives it a vibe, even with, like you were saying, Dave, all those influences, it kind of becomes its own animal, I think, in a way. And that was part of the miracle of it. It was like, well, this is going to be just, at the very least, this will be hopefully a fun watch and kind of goofy, but it's weird how it did kind of all become, it all felt like it went together in a really strange way.
I just think that you
can't explain that.
I just think that your sensibilities and Mike's combined and doing this and the way you shot it and the limit of time of actually shooting took out the factor of overthinking.
It did. It forced us into this sort of
and yet what you guys were thinking and doing were on the right note, and that's what made the movie actually work as a whole and make it really different and special. Wow. As opposed to other people who've done similar ideas and concepts and parameters, and they don't work. I think that's what makes this movie really stand out. So
I appreciate that. I think I think there's probably, thank you for saying that. I think there's probably something to that, and I think it's also just we were having fun,
Right.
and everyone was kind of like, well, the stakes weren't that high because it was like, well, it's going to screen at this one thing, this festival that had challenged us,
Right.
Josh Goldblum challenged
Well,
us. Like, well, it's not going to go beyond that. And
Now,
then
now,
we
now
got into
let-
another festival.
Let me address that. I mean,
Yeah.
making a movie is a very. I've always, I always say that there's alchemy involved, like Rumpelstiltskin spinning straw into gold, and
Right.
and I do believe there is magic in movie making, and that magic is when disparate people come together that are good at what they do, and when they all contribute, you create you spin that special sauce. And
Right.
in the case of what you were doing, it was going to be a one-time thing, a challenge for this festival. Yet you roped all these talented people and they stepped up, and you made the movie you wanted to make. When you saw the results, when you started seeing the actual footage, and I've always, I can't explain or reiterate enough to people who haven't made a film. When you start seeing the footage that you've shot, I mean, it's both the most exhilarating and the most depressing thing all at the same time.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God. Like it's really. So what was it like for you guys as you embarked on this endeavor when you saw what you had in the can, when you saw that, what was it like for you seeing what was you had created? How did you feel about it?
It was luckily mostly exhilarating. I mean, there is that you cannot get through a first pass or a first assembly when you're watching takes. Like you said, it is so gut-wrenchingly depressing because you're like, oh God. And there were those nightmares. There was one scene in particular. There's this scene where Suzanne's trying to get me to put on her dead husband's Mountie uniform, and
As one does.
Sure.
And we really thought we had covered everything. The kind of guiding principle or the rule that we were trying to set for ourselves while shooting it was unless it was a special thing like an effect or a montage, no more than 3 setups per scene. You have to do 3 setups.
Wow.
Or we won't finish in time. So we really tried to stick by that. And one scene, the scene where she's trying to get me to put on this outfit, I don't know what messed us up, but it might have been because I think we had the camera on a Dana dolly, which is like a short, easy to put together dolly. And we just were moving it back and forth to try to give us more diversity in the takes. And I think because we did that, we thought we'd done 3 angles, but we hadn't. And when we got into the edit, that was one where I went, oh, fuck. Because I was like, we didn't really have an angle on, I think on Suzanne. I think we had one on me and a kind of a roving 2 shot. But that roving 2 ended up being enough. And it was this strange profile-y shot on her that weirdly worked and allowed her to see more movement of her. So we just had to use it, is what I'm saying. And the depression, as we cut it, the sort of anxiety turned into, oh, this is okay. We'll be all right with this. But overall, I think watching everything, it was mostly like, holy shit, this might be better than we think. This is a goof, but we might actually have something that's at the very least fun to watch. In particular, seeing some of the improvs that the actors did. I mean, Graham's scene, there's this motif through the movie. Suzanne is always asking everybody who shows up to the house, do you want some tea? She's offering tea to everybody in the whole damn movie, whoever shows up.
Oh yeah, but
well,
the grossest thing is the first cup of tea.
A cup of tea.
The cup of tea is the grossest thing ever.
Oh, that. Yeah. There's whenever you actually get the tea, it's not something you'd want to drink.
Oh my God.
But she keeps offering it to people. And one of the, I think one of the exhilarating things was seeing how Graham handled that. She's really starting to turn into something at that point. She's pretty much full on becoming a monster. Spoiler alert. And she offers Graham tea, but she's got all this black bile in her mouth, and you could never understand what she's saying. And I don't think it was even scripted. She just says, no one could ever understand what she's saying. And Graham just said, No, I would not like any tea. And it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen because the response, it was like he just improvised that. So when I was seeing all of these great improvs and Suzanne, reacting to us finding her eating these intestines in another scene, that none of that, a lot of that wasn't scripted. And so as we were watching this and seeing the angles Mike chose, it was just like, I think we might have something here if we can cut it fast enough and get it done by the time we got to show it.
By the way, Matt, as you're talking, Martino Sulmoni, who is an imagination connoisseur from Europe, a big supporter of this channel, became a member listening to your dulcet tones. So he's a VIP member, so thank you, sir.
Ooh, thank you, sir.
I love it when people respond to thank you, Dave and Matt, for doing the show. I love it when people respond to, I think that this little channel that we try and get bigger, we deliver some really good programming. And Matt, thank you for being here.
Oh, I mean, we're trying.
It is a pleasure to
do.
But Matt,
there is no try.
Wow, that's why I'm
wise
me
words.
and Rob is Rob because he can do Yoda way better than me.
You can do your Yoda. Come on, everyone is out. Okay, wait, guys, people are like, do your best ASMR voice. Okay, so I'll start. I'll be like, hi, Matt. My name's Robert Burnett, and I'm very happy to have you on Midnight Metal to talk about your film, Dementia Part Two. Thank you for being here. Now I ask you, Matt, can you give us your ASMR voice?
Absolutely.
Oh, goodness.
Robert, that was so soothing. And I've had enough whiskey that I might have to take a little nap now. You're listening to Midnight Metal. Dave, take it away with your ASMR voice.
I just want that on a loop now. I just want that on a loop. It's 11:55, and you're listening to Midnight Metal. I am your metal master, Dave. I don't know.
Do you have a whip? I want to be whipped by Dave.
I don't know.
Dave, you're my metal master. Can I bend over to
I
slog
am your
me?
metal master, Dave.
By the way, can I just say, no one? I want to raise my glass to the two of you, to all of us. That was a suggestion from the chat. Thank you for that, chat. I hope you understand how great all of you were. Thank you so much. My God, only on this show.
I do have another question for Matt. How, with the pressures of all this shit, when you're filming, how did you not lose your shit? How did you just not? How did you? Oh, Cardinal Sin says R&B wins. Okay. All right, Cardinal Sin. You and I might have a problem later on.
Well, he jumped from Yoda to ASMR. I mean, that's
well, yeah. So obviously, clearly a Yoda fan.
Oh man, I mean, come
also,
on.
I still want to hear Dave.
Oh wait, you know what? Ash Chowhan says.
There it is.
Wait, hang on. Ash Chowhan says you guys should do the ASMR voice in unison and say, "It's fucking metal" together. That's a great idea. We should all do that. All right, I'm going to count it down, and we're all going to say it's fucking metal.
Wait. But does this mean we have to be soothing or what?
No, it's your ASMR voice.
ASMR.
So I love it, but I hate it.
it.
So here we go.
We're supposed to say what?
It's fucking metal.
It's fucking metal.
I'm going to count it down. Right. All right. 3, 2, 1. It's fucking metal. Wow, that was
like the vapor.
That was amazing. Oh my God!
If you added some reverb to that, it would sound.
I know.
It would sound amazing.
That was ethereal.
Man.
My God.
Wow.
Wow.
So wait, so Matt, and now back to the movie.
I down on this microphone, basically.
You went down on the microphone? Was the microphone satisfied, or is it still wanting?
It's on camera, and I went down on it, and it was satisfied. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
It'll let you know. You did a good job.
It's like, how's your father? Oh, it's very good. No, thank you. But no, Matt, how did you, with the truncated shooting time and everything else, how did you not totally freak out? Or was it the fact, did you just block out everything and were just so in the moment on this? I mean, seriously, how did you not like lose your fucking shit on a daily basis doing this, given everything?
Well, I did lose my shit a lot. But the thing that kept me intact was I didn't want it to seem like I was losing my shit inside. And I honestly, again, part of it gets back to I was surrounded with the right people. Being there with Suzanne and Graham and Najara and people really well and you kind of hang out with sometimes anyway, keeps you relaxed. I think where I was getting a little up about things, or I was anxious about things, was I was worried that some of the effects wouldn't work very well, as simple as some of them are. And there was more anxiety, though. I think there was more anxiety before we shot because the entire script to screen process was 5 weeks. We wrote it in, 3 or 4, 5 days, something like that. That overlapped with prep, and we set a date to start because we had to. And I think we gave ourselves a week to prep. During some of that time, or most of that time, Mike was out of town shooting a commercial in some tropical location. And I was like, you asshole. So we would talk about what we needed to get, but I was running around getting stuff. This was at the same time my mom was visiting Los Angeles, and this came about so quick. I was just like, well, I'm making a movie now. And she was like, oh, well, I'll help out. So that was somewhat helpful because she was going around buying props with me and ended up kind of becoming our de facto production designer. She found
your mom was the unsung MVP.
She was. She was at the 99-cent store with me. She found the squirrel. She did that teacup thing you were talking about, that gross thing. She was doing stuff like that. But a lot of the heart attacks came in that week because it was so fast. The biggest of which was finding a location, because we wrote it. It was like, we can't shoot this in our apartments. We need a cool house. And we did end up finding a place. But initially I was reaching out to rental property apps like Vrbo and Airbnb and things like that. I was just, and the instant you tell someone, you have to be upfront if you're shooting. I know some people aren't, and they just rent a place like they're going on vacation and they shoot there. We could not. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be honest in case.
Now, did you have to get insurance for this? I mean, do you have?
Yeah, we
did.
We did. I'm not going to say whether. Or
I don't mean to look. I don't mean. I don't want to pry. I don't want to pry. No, I don't want to pry.
We're after midnight now. Everything goes.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, so it's 24/7 somewhere. So I just want to say, like, from a production standpoint, I'm curious. I mean, what you guys did, and again, I haven't watched the movie. I've seen the trailer, but what you pulled off in the time, I mean. I looked at that trailer and I'm thinking, can I see how little time you had to make the movie? No, you can't.
No, but Rob, the thing is this, I will say this, and kudos to you, because it's been a little tricky to find, but now you can find it. And I know you will watch this movie now easily in the next day or so.
I can't wait. I mean, I wanted to watch it before. The only reason I didn't is because I was at an event I had to go to today, and I'm like, fuck, I didn't want to like interview Matt and not see the film. I mean, I like Contracted. I'm like, I don't know what that says about me, but okay. But
you should like Contracted too. You got to check out. You got to check out Contracted 2 because Matt is the star of that one.
Okay, I have not seen Contracted 2.
No,
I apologize.
I'm not shaming you. I'm not shaming you. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, no, you should fucking shame me. This show is about shaming.
I've got
you know what? If you're not fucking metal,
shame you about it doesn't have to be about Contracted 2. I can shame you about.
Wow, now really, you gotta disrespect me that way? Come on, man.
Let's go.
There is no shame in that.
Why would you say that?
I
don't disrespect
blood in,
you.
blood out. Let's go.
Launda. I thought you're my canal. Why you got to play me this way? Come on, man.
That's right. Exactly. We're all gonna get canceled right now.
That's right. Sorry, we've been on that road for a while. Fine.
Well, I can't wait. Like, Contracted's gonna wind up on a list of movies that no one should ever see again. Like, come on.
Maybe there might be some reason something gets canceled about that, but I'm not gonna. Let's not go there. That has nothing to do with Matt and his wonderful movie that he's involved with, Dementia Part 2. So let's just keep it at that.
First of all, the horror genre is going to get canceled. Like the entire genre.
That. If the horror genre gets canceled, then I'm taking a quick leap off a long cliff.
Oh well, I'm just saying. I don't.
And
I don't
Rob
want to
will
live
be
in
there
a
to push me off.
Oh, well, I would never do that to you, Dave. I've
well,
always
you
had your
might.
back.
If I ask, you always go back, which means you're going to push me off.
If you want me to push you off something, I've got your back. Just so you know, I'm happy to do it.
That's all right, Rob. I've got a lot of volunteers. No.
Wow, this show.
Oh my goodness!
Let's get back to Dementia
ebb
Part
and
2.
Flow.
Yeah,
the lyrical flow. To crash your plane.
Crashing this plane.
Anyway, we're losing it.
We're losing our minds.
Oh yeah, we're losing it now.
I know it's great as we drink more and more and talk to Matt. Matt's like,
hello.
You know,
Matt's drinking whiskey.
I'm right there with you. I got the whiskey and tea combo.
Oh, is that like in a Blade Runner glass?
It actually is it says Blood, Chainsaws, Singing, and this is an Evil Dead the musical.
Wow.
Because
this is from the original New York production at Dodger Stages.
Very nice.
And our mutual friend who is in Dementia Part 2, Graham Skipper, was Herbert West in Reanimator, musical.
He was and did an excellent job at hearing stories. Talk about something insurmountable. That production, the way they did the gore gags in that, it's unbelievable. And I want to say it was Buechler, right, who did some of those. I mean, he designed a lot of it for them, right?
Well, I don't know about. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, for the musical as well. I think
maybe.
I think I'm not positive about that. I'm probably speaking out of turn, but that was one of those instances, much like Dementia 2, even though it's on stage. All those actors had to there were people working with each other to make those things work. Like there'd be one person running the blood who's also acting, and another person. The stuff Graham has said about how they made all of that work, because it's crazy what they pull off.
But again,
on that, and I think Joe Vegas was the stage manager on that. So he was.
I know Joe.
Yeah,
worked with Stewart. Kudos to Stewart, the man, the myth, the legend. He's not a myth. He's just a legend.
He is a legend.
He is.
Very much so.
And someone that we were all very fortunate, the three of us, very fortunate to know personally and in our lives. And that's the thing. When you think about it, it was like, when I was a kid in the video days, renting Reanimator on VHS, to be able to then go, you're going to know this person. You're going to know the man who directed this movie and made this movie personally. We've been very lucky, guys. As far as contemporary horror goes, we've met. I mean, Rob, you and I, we met John Carpenter. We've met David Cronenberg. We met Larry Cohen. We met Don Coscarelli. Not just met at time. We know these people.
Know them, hang out. They've
Stuart Gordon. They're acquaintances, if not friends and supporters. We've been incredibly lucky. All of us, all three of us, have gotten to know these people.
Look, I mean, today I was screening my film Free Enterprise for a group of investors, and I told the story about how Stuart Gordon came to multiple screenings of the film and gave me notes.
Oh, wow.
And then like I have before his death, Darren Scott and I were working on raising money for a film with him.
For Nevermore.
For Nevermore,
the adaptation of his stage play.
Yeah, and Dennis Paoli, based on our behest, wrote the feature-length screenplay and adapted that play. And Stuart took out a Dolls, a From Beyond, and a Reanimator one-sheets, original one-sheets.
No.
And he signed them all to me.
What? You have a Dolls one-sheet signed to you? I hate you. Forget I have From Beyond. I have Reanimator. I don't have Dolls. This is how crazy is this, guys? Dolls
Dude,
is the
you
one.
know what? You know what? You know what? Here's a Phantasm Silver Sphere in your face. In your face.
Yeah, I have one too, and I've got a Phantasm story that trumps any Phantasm story you could ever have. So anyway,
well, tell it. Tell it.
Yeah, you have to tell it.
Come on.
Please. So in the early '90s, I hung around Jeff Burr and Darren Scott.
Jeff Burr is the nicest guy.
Nice guy.
I mean,
but I have a screen credit on Texas Chainsaw 3. Just saying, Dave.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But these were my mentors, and the first movie I worked on was a Jeff Burr movie, and that's where I met Darren Scott.
By the way, me too.
And Courtney Joyner, and a lot of these people. And then one night, they said, "Hey, we're gonna go to the Phantasm 3 set in Sherman Oaks," and it was a rainy night, and we drive. And we drive down Laurel Canyon, and we hit Sherman Way, and we find a warehouse on Sherman Way, and it's a rainy night. And we get to the place, and we go and walk in, and it's a dark, stormy night on a soundstage in a warehouse. And we're walking around trying to find where they're actually shooting. And as I'm walking around one of the flats from one of the sets, Angus Scrimm comes around the corner in full tall man regalia towards me.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, holy shit, there's the tall man. And he comes up to me and goes, "Dave, oh, hello. Nice to see you. They're filming over there."
He said your name? That's so crazy.
Dude, that's so metal.
Because I knew Angus at that point. And he just said, "Filming's over there." That's sir.
Boy.
Dave.
That is amazing.
But yeah, and I legitimately jumped when he turned the corner and I saw the tall man walking around the corner.
Behind a flat on what I assume had to be a fairly dark area.
It was very dark, and it was like, holy shit.
Oh my God.
It was,
wow.
It was, and the thing is this, the Phantasm films were always, it's my favorite series. For some reason that just connects to me. I love that series of films, the imagination behind it, the Silver Sphere.
Dude,
Rob, you have the Silver Sphere. I have several as well. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, but can anyone put them in your face on the internet? In your face.
Well, no.
No, I have to say
but that meant a lot to me. And the fact that I've gotten to know Reggie, and Reggie is a friend, and Don is a friend. I mean, I think Don Coscarelli is one of the most underrated, underappreciated film directors of all time. I mean, the things
I'm finally reading his book right now.
His book was
halfway through his book.
His book is amazing. It's
great.
called True Indie.
True Indie, yeah.
True Indie. So I recommend it to any filmmaker. This is the guy who created Phantasm, but also did created Beastmaster, and then
John dies at the end. He adapted.
Well,
A literary adaptation.
But that's the thing. He became fiercely independent, and then did John Dies at the End, did Bubba Hotep, and he's created these amazing things. He's been lucky. He was also one of the people when I first moved into town, when they were starting to film Phantasm 3, I went to try to get a PA job on. And it was like, but unfortunately I didn't have a car, so I couldn't work on Phantasm 3, but I met Paul Pepperman at the offices of Phantasm 3.
Well,
it's like, it's always been like, Dawn in those series is huge thing.
Phantasm is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I not just Dawn, but I have to give a shout out to his wife Shelley Coscarelli,
which I haven't met. I have not met her.
I've been to his house. I mean, she is such a nice woman, and there was a period of time she was very supportive of me personally, and so was Dawn. And meeting them, I mean, and Dawn is such a sweetheart. I mean, and it was funny because, you know, meeting him, their house in Santa Monica, and the kids and the whole family, and it was so the antithesis of what I thought a guy who directed Phantasm would be like.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he was like the nicest guy, and he was very supportive of free enterprise, and like Stuart was, and my God, what a wonderful experience to meet somebody like Phantasm. The first Phantasm, my father took me to see it, and I would rope him into taking me to these R-rated Avco Embassy movies.
Sure.
So we were at the Crossroads Theater, and we go in, and the opening scene is when the lady in lavender kills Tommy. They're fucking in the graveyard, and when she plunges the knife into his stomach, and he's like, there's the jump cuts. My dad is like, Bobby, I'm gonna leave.
I'm gonna leave now.
I'm leaving now. And he went out, and he's like, don't worry, I'll be here when you're done. And I'm sure he went and smoked cigars for like 90 minutes in the parking lot because he knew how much the movie meant to me.
And he was talking to other people.
Yeah,
I had a great time.
I probably had a great time. And when I came out, I'm like, that was fucking awesome. And my dad's like, that's all he needed to see was it was 1979. Like, oh my. And by the way, this was on the heels of my dad taking me to see Dawn of the Dead at the UA-70, where no one under 17 was admitted. My dad rolls up to the fucking box office. He's like, his mother's already inside waiting for him. I'm like, where'd you come up with that shit? My mom would never come. She wouldn't be within 100 yards of this theater. My dad's like, his mother's already inside. And they're like, well, okay, sir. And I go in to fucking watch Dawn of the Dead opening night. Well,
come on.
I swear to God. Ooh. And that was what my dad said. And I had read the novelization first.
You read the novelization of the Dawn of the Dead first?
Yep, because it had come out from the Science Fiction Book Club. So I had it and read it. I was anticipating every machete strike, every helicopter blade.
Oh, my God.
And I walk in there, and I sat down next to this couple. Mm-hmm. And they were like 4 seats away from me. And I'm like bouncing up and down. And they're looking at me like I'm a fucking kid.
And you're annoying the fuck out of them as they're trying to watch.
No. They looked at me. They were like, hey, kid, how'd you get in here? I'm like, my dad got me in here because I wanted to see this movie. And they're like, do you know anything about this movie? And, of course, I get up. I saunter down the aisle. Yes, I know everything about this movie. What do you want to know?
Hey, Rob.
Yes, Dave.
Who co-wrote the novelization?
Susanna Sparrow. Dude,
there you go.
Come on, Dave.
Whoa.
No, you
Dave,
can't.
Dave, come on, dude. There it is.
The fact you got it before you had to grab the novel, but it's like, come on.
Just saying.
Come on, man.
I know, but no.
I know.
By the way, can I just say that Ron C., who is a foundational member of this community, says, Metal morning, Rob, Dave, and Matt. Gentlemen, if your favorite director reached out for help and direct, who would that be and why? And then, Rob, metal for the shout-out. Ron C. made me a James Bond poster for my 700th YouTube episode. So he says, Rob, medal for the shout out for my 007 poster. I almost slammed my motorcycle brakes when I heard my name. Thank you. Well, Ron, if you'd done that, you would have flown off the handlebars. So thank God you didn't. But the real question is, your favorite director reaches out for help to direct. Who would that be? So, Matt, if your favorite director reached out to you and needed help, who would that be and why?
Well, that is so tough because some of my favorite directors are these people we've been talking about. I would have to go with
11:55.
Yeah. Well, so okay, I'm torn. So my favorite director, I just have to say, is John Carpenter. And so if he reached out for help, I would definitely want to do that. But I feel like if I had a choice between a few of my favorite directors who would I want to work with, it might be Joe Dante, because I feel like I would get a lot of good stories out of him.
Wow.
Because he's so good at telling stories about the films he knows about and the films that he's worked on. But I have to go with John Carpenter because no one influenced my love of film more than he did growing up. And I think he was the first director that I recognized as someone who I could identify his own style.
Yeah.
Was that the answer to the question? That was the question, right?
Yeah, that was the question. That was great.
Because I think seeing him apply, especially in the Dean Cundy days. Can I also time travel in this and go back?
Yeah, you can do it.
The Fog?
Whatever you want.
It's hypothetical. You can go wherever you want, Matt.
All right, I'm going to go back in time to. I would want to go to the Fog.
Huey Lewis style.
Huey Lewis style. I'm going back to the Fog. 11:55.
Wow, dude, that was some epic ASMR. I'm shook.
11:55. My production company.
Wow.
Yes.
But those locations that they shot in and the way they lit them, I love the look of that movie. It's one of, if not my favorite in terms of the look. So yeah, and I would want to see hands-on right in front of him what he's doing there, like how he and Cundy got that to look that way. And you could really pick any of those, Escape from New York or The
Lack
Fog.
of lights, I would say.
Say that again?
Lack of lights, I would say.
Lack of lights, yeah.
Lack of
well,
lights.
I mean, I know some of it, like the opening of The Fog, half of it's just
Rob,
Deborah Hill out with the camera shooting her.
Yes, Dave, by the way, can I say, sends in a super chat sticker, a diamond.
Oh, nice.
So thanks for that.
She's got multiple masters.
I like that.
Masters.
Yeah,
masters
degrees.
Of puppets.
Not like masters, like domination. She's her own.
Like master of puppets.
I love
anyway,
that.
Rob,
that's a great album cover, by the way.
Oh yeah, what would be your choice as far?
What's your choice? I'm curious.
What director would you help out?
Well, he's dead, but my favorite director of all time is Stanley Kubrick. And
you pompous ass. Like he needs your help.
Hey, you know what? That's the whole point of this wish fulfillment fantasy, is that your hero calls you up and goes, Rob, with his Brooklyn accent, I need your help. Yeah. I need your help. I mean, my God, I can't think of anything better.
Take this book off from this high shelf that I can't reach.
No. I would like him to say, I need some help with my mise en scène. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I know.
See, and I didn't take it as they just want help, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not advising.
You know what?
I mean, this is a hypothetical question. You're dissing on my answer to a hypothetical question. I mean, come on now. You're asking me.
Kubrick
I have another
help from anyone.
I have another question with that, though. Which movie now?
Now you're changing the parameters, but Eyes Wide Shut. He needs my help on Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, nice.
Snap. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Eyes Wide Shut. And by the way,
over Full Metal Jacket after Platoon came out, I'd be like, hey, you might want to recourse this one.
No, Full Metal Jacket's great. Come on now.
But you would want to go there to be on the crew and help him out, or you'd want to see more.
He just wants to Tom Cruise.
No. I actually want to see Nicole Kidman. Me and my fondness.
But
for
you'd be
redheads.
hanging out with Tom Cruise more. You've already established you have a rapport with Tom Cruise.
Yes, but at the time when they were making it, I had not met him before, so I can't. But I love redheads, you know. Anyway, I'm like, let's talk about Dead Calm again.
Oh man,
Please.
Let's talk about Sam Neill.
That's a setup of the visit.
Can we
Philip
talk about
Noyce.
BMX Bandits? Your entire Australian I'm
God.
taller than him. Come on.
Who isn't? Who isn't taller?
I know. I'm a big Nicole
Pesci
Kidman
is
fan.
taller than Tom Cruise.
Wait, can we just bring it back to Dementia Part 2?
Can we? Please?
No,
I
we
mean-
don't have to.
We don't. Yeah, we don't. But we don't. This is a rollicking conversation.
All right.
I like
so,
the fact that
so, Matt,
Uh-huh.
this is the final word you have to say about Dementia Part 2
Yes.
ever.
Oh,
no,
This is
that's
it.
not true. He's going to talk about it tomorrow on a different channel.
Well, maybe, but we're going to
Right.
say that this is the final word right now.
Okay.
What is it? What's the final word on Dementia Part 2?
I would say the last thing I would say about it is
One word.
literally one word. If I had one word, no, I like
I'm
this.
kidding,
I like
I'm
this
kidding.
challenge. I would say, I don't know if this is one word. It could be two, but I'm going to say it's one because I think it's funnier if it's just one word. Barf bag.
Wow.
Not as classy as I was hoping for.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
fine.
like,
On a classy
Whiskey?
show like Midnight
Oh, I
Metal,
love.
I was hoping.
Matt and I are on the same level. He doesn't have to be erudite. I mean, come on, barf
That's right.
bag.
Yeah. Fine. Whiskey. Get yourself nice and sauced before you watch it. It'll be much more enjoyable that way.
I was hoping for something so much more classy.
I mean, I would think
about Guy
like,
Madden, and I'm not sure I can get more erudite than.
dude. I mean, I can't believe. By the way, can I say, Matt,
when
when you bust out Guy Madden, I'm like, wow, that's.
He squirted a little when he did that.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did. He got a little. That's why his hands are like that right now.
Come on now.
There's liquids flowing.
His
Yeah,
liquid
well-
is flowing.
It's well.
See, I just love it when I can break him. When I can break when you thank you for the help. You assisted on breaking Rob just a little bit. You're like, okay, I can't
boy.
keep it. I can't hold it.
Well, there's a gold standard that I have in my mind, and in terms of language, if you can surpass this, then I laugh, and
I
that's
like
good.
that this came right after you insisting I be classy. Too.
I know, right?
You immediately
Like
went
to be erudite. Like I'm
is
here to
like-
serve you, man. I want to make sure you're a visionary. That you're
He
film.
doesn't need us.
Here's the
He is a
weird thing.
visionary. He doesn't need Midnight Metal to be a visionary.
weird
So he
thing
can
is
be
that
crass with us, and that's what this is all about tonight, guys.
That's what being.
That's what
metal
fucking
is.
metal means.
Fucking
Thank
right.
God.
That's fucking right.
Fuck yeah, Matt. Are you fucking metal right now? You've been on the show for over an hour. Are you
Fucking metal.
still fucking metal?
No, he's tired.
Damn right I am.
He's
That's not
tired.
good.
He's been
Yeah, but
filming
that's metal.
all fucking night.
That's
He's been
metal.
filming all night. He's like, I'm ready to go to fuck the bed.
He's gonna fuck the
gonna
bed. I
fuck
used to
the
do
bed.
that when I
No,
was
he's ready to
12.
go
I
the
did that all the
fuck
time. I
to-
fucked my bed so much.
No, I said he's ready to go the fuck to bed.
I mean,
Well,
God,
Matt.
I just got a new
Oh.
memory foam mattress. Let's give it a whirl.
Oh yeah, give it a whirl,
It's gonna
man.
remember everything. Just remember that it's gonna remember everything you do to it.
But wait a minute. Before we get too far, Dave,
Oh God. Yes.
your director. You didn't because someone asked us. We got to
Sometimes.
get your director.
Rarely.
Your director that you would go back and.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dave. You haven't answered the question.
I want to be with Coscarelli. I want to go on that phantasm journey on the road. I want to go on the road with the CUDA. I want to do
With
that.
the
Oh, I
CUDA.
love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Man, that CUDA is so
Exactly.
hot. That car is
So
amazing.
good, man.
So,
Yeah.
you
I
guys.
will say
didn't-
we've talked about three of the nicest. I've only met each of them once, but well, no, Stuart I met more than once, but we were talking the most about Stuart and Jeff Burr and Don Coscarelli. They are probably the three nicest guys.
Yeah, I've had
So
biblical
nice.
relationships with all of them. So
See how nice they are?
that's how nice they are. All right. All right.
All right.
So Matt, you have been here for over an hour and a half.
Holy shit! I didn't even notice.
I know, right?
I know.
This is the most
I need
rollickingly
another-
fun
I need
conversation.
another respite. I need another break.
Well, you do? Okay, Dave.
I do.
Okay.
I just need a little break.
Okay, you go break. I would ask Matt. I mean, I first of all, go break, Dave.
Matt, I love you. Thank you for.
Well,
doing
I'm not going to let
Love
him
you.
go before you come back.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sticking around. What do you think?
Okay.
What do you think this is?
Hey,
Come on, man.
hey,
Come on, dude.
hey.
So, Matt, now that I have you to myself,
Oh my god!
I know. I would ask you this. I mean, the story behind Dementia Part Two is very inspiring. But I would ask you. I mean, you've learned a lot along the way. You aspired to be an actor, then you moved into becoming a filmmaker. Now you're directing. There's a lot of people that watch this channel and they ask themselves, "How can I do that? How can I be a part of that?" What would your advice be? I mean, I think the obvious answer is you have to do the work. You know.
Sure. Yeah.
But what if you could offer some wise pearls of wisdom to our audience about your journey? And I love the fact that it was an actor that you fell into this. What could you tell people that might want to make part 3?
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
what can you tell them?
Yeah.
How do you not just get into the business but stick to it, because it's a horrible, awful, terrible business that has no security. How do you stick with it? How do you make it happen, and then how do you stick with it?
I would well, you said you got to do the work, and I would say don't be afraid of the work would be my advice, because that, for me, that was the one thing. Like I said earlier, got into it as an actor, but when I started wanting to make things, I was terrified, truly terrified. And because it's probably a hybrid of a fear of failure combined with not knowing anybody and everything seeming so daunting. But it is okay to feel that way.
Right.
And you cannot let that stop you from trying. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't always necessarily mean that the thing you think you want to do is the thing you want to do, because when you get into it, there's so many jobs in film that you can suddenly go, oh wow, I didn't realize how good I would be at this or how much I like this. So my advice would be is just start doing it, especially these days, because you said earlier technology has come so far, and I don't want to sound like everyone says this, but you can shoot a movie on your phone. You can.
Right.
You can shoot a movie
been doing it.
Soderbergh's been doing it. But yeah, Unsane is such a good thriller, and that was shot on a fucking phone.
Fucking iPhone.
It's all in how you use it and how much you practice with it. So I would say don't be afraid to just start trying. And it's going to suck. It's like you said about watching the first assembly. The first thing you make, if it's your first thing, you're going to be like, oh, this is terrible. Don't stop if you don't want to stop, though. I think that's the advice I would give, is don't be afraid, because I was afraid for a long time, and I didn't dig in as soon as I wanted to. For sure.
Well, I would say, I mean, my God, that's that in a nutshell. That's some very inspiring. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
I mean, that's to me. My great saying in life is from Star Trek: boldly go.
That's it.
Wherever you're gonna go, just boldly go.
Yeah.
But you know what? What you said, don't be afraid. That's because I think there's so much fear in making films. There's so much trepidation, and I love that you say that. Don't be afraid. If there's one thing, you know, at this YouTube channel, if I had a philosophy, I would distill it down to that. Don't be afraid. Go out, go forth, be bold, do great things.
Boldly go is such a good. That is.
It's it,
such
man.
a good way to put it.
That's
I love that. And yeah, I mean that's all I can say. And by the way, it doesn't go away is the other thing I'll say, because I'm afraid on a daily basis. I'm acting in a movie now, and it's been in some ways terrifying, because it's stuff I've never done before as an actor. So it doesn't go away. You just have to.
Dude, after contracted, how hard could it be? Come on, really?
After maggot fucking? No, it's not that much harder.
But I gotta say this, and I'm glad that I jumped in when you guys had this to say. Yeah, I wish and listen to that and trust that inner voice. Don't listen to your outer voice, which can be incredibly destructive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trust blindly in what you're doing. And the thing is this, if you're spending a very little amount of money and you're doing something, don't worry about it. Nothing has to be Jurassic Park, and not everything has to be. And the thing is, what you find out is that the real gems come out of things that are not trying to be like everything else. And that's why Dementia Part Two is, because you guys trusted that inner voice of not being afraid and just barreling towards the end game.
Yeah.
And it's, again, that's why it's so inspiring.
Well, thanks.
I agree.
It's not a problem to start small either. Starting on your phone with just you. I mean, Dave and I are in this filmmaking. Have you talked about that on here for the Filmmaking Accountability Group?
No.
I made a short for that. I very recently made a short by myself on my phone, just me. And you can say it's terrible or if you like it or whatever. I got something made. And then I was like, oh, you know what I would do differently next time? I would do this or this. And that's how you alleviate the fears, saying, oh, I was really invigorated by what I didn't quite get that time.
Right. And the thing is, Matt and I and many others are doing this right now.
Yeah, we still do it.
And doing it, and the last one that I did starred Matt, and it's called Deadlines, and you can find it on Vimeo.
It's great.
Look under Just Scare Me. It's
really good, and it's also
it is what it is.
The editing you did on it is phenomenal. It's so.
But it is what it is. It's a very simple premise, but it just shows you the level of what is being done on these things, at least on the lower scale, maybe the level of what's being done as opposed to the higher level. It's really, the thing is, but it's open to. The thing is this: Just Scare Me. If you look up Just Scare Me, it's open to everyone. Yeah. Anyone who wants to do something can, and there are no rules. And it certainly helped me. So
now, you just said something else that's really good advice, which is keep it simple. Because I think part of the effectiveness of your short, it is very tightly edited, but it's so simple, and it's very effective because of that. It's it's a basic setup and payoff kind of short, and it works great. There's no reason to go elaborate when you're first starting out. Keep it simple.
Thank you.
Do it with one person or two people.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
But Matt, can they also see Feeding Time somewhere? Can people watch Feeding Time?
Yeah, that's
other short.
Yeah, that's just on YouTube.
Okay.
If you search Feeding Time short film, it should pop up.
Right.
And how can people find you online if they want to reach out to you?
I'm on Twitter at the handle Mercer Shark, like how it sounds. Same on Instagram. That's right. Back to the Sharks. I don't know what that means. Back to the Sharks. But Instagram and Twitter are both Mercer Shark. Hit me up anytime. I'm on there. Tell me what you think of things that I make, or tell me if you're interested in doing something, anything.
Yeah. But definitely, guys, check out Dementia Part 2. It's on VOD. Now, it comes out on DVD when? And does it come out on Blu-ray as well?
It does. It'll be Blu-ray. For some reason, the press release said DVD. I don't know why, but it's Blu-ray. And it is pre-orderable on some sites now, but I don't think it actually ships until mid-June.
That's okay. You got those pre-orders count. They count to the analytics. So.
They do. And I know I've seen it on like Barnes & Noble, Walmart. Pretty standard.
Well, Matt,
it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah. I want to thank you for being here on Midnight Metal. I mean, Dave has been acquiring guests, and the fact that we had somebody like I'm a big fan of yours. Thank you for coming on the show from the bottom of my heart.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me on. I'm a big
It's
fan
not
of your
an
work.
honor. It's just
I'm a big fan of
it's
both
cool.
of your
It's
work.
cool.
So
It's kind of an honor.
it's
Fucking-
crazy to
fucking
Is
do
it?
metal, dude.
Is it? I don't want to be that pretentious. Like, oh, it's an honor. No, it's just kind of
It
cool.
is.
It's an honor for me.
cool to
When I
hang.
mean fellow
well,
filmmakers,
no,
it's an
no,
honor
no,
for me.
It's
You
an
can
honor
sit there and
for
be all
us.
cynical and be like, whatever.
No,
dude. I don't
Rob.
give a fuck.
I'm saying
No,
it's
I'm
an
just saying.
honor for us.
Yes.
For the guests, not so much an honor. We're schmoes hanging out.
Okay, but it's
That's not true.
It's an
Give
honor.
me
It's an honor for
honor for
us.
me.
Absolutely, I agree with that. So
Yeah.
Well, as a
No,
fan
I
of
mean-
work you have both done, I'm honored to be here. So it's
Well,
just
Matt,
fun to sit
the
and
honor
chat.
was all ours.
All right.
And if I get Matt, could I actually get you
Stop
to
being
do
so
it in an
metal.
ASMR voice? Give us a plug for Dementia Part 2. Like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you like your stomach queasy, your nerves jangled, and your eyes seared, then go online now and rent or buy Dementia Part 2.
Oh my god! I just
was
soiled.
terrible.
I soiled
Wow.
I soiled my
oh my
pants.
goodness!
Come
oh
on,
my
dude.
goodness.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I got a little Percy Rodriguez at the end of that. I got a little.
Oh my God, Percy Rodriguez, star of the Star Trek episode Court Martial and the voiceover artist of the Jaws trailer. My
Hell yeah.
God, Matt Mercer, you just blew my mind. Your legitimacy and his legitimacy just, the people watching are like, what is Rob talking about? You don't know, but Matt
Percy
Mercer
Rodriguez,
is the real
fucking
deal.
metal.
Fucking
I'm trying to be metal.
God gave him Jaws. Come on, man. Percy Rodriguez.
Oh, the best.
my
He's
God.
favorite. He's
If
my
you
favorite.
have one film to see this weekend, make it Dementia Part 2.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good Rodriguez.
That was really
That
good.
was good, yeah.
Oh man.
Holy shit, he's the best. He was the best.
Oh, the
I
best.
missed that.
And
Oh
And
my God.
voiceover narration on trailers. I just missed that
I know.
so much.
We're bringing it back.
by
Yes.
the way, he played a black Commodore on Star Trek in 1966. So for those of you who don't remember about Star Trek, including diversity, I don't know, 55 years ago, Percy Rodriguez is your man.
He's there. He was there. Yeah.
He was amazing. But
Yeah.
by God, that trailer for Jaws is still my favorite. There's three. There's Jaws. There's the Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
They are the dead who cannot die. I mean, that's it, man. That and the first Alien trailer.
Oh, that's
So-
the best. That
So
is my
good,
favorite
dude.
trailer of
So
all time.
good. Oh,
That trailer set
Oh.
a precedent, I think,
Oh.
for everything that came after. The
Right.
first Alien trailer is
Of the Living Dead.
but the way you said Night.
yeah.
But the Alien trailer, that was
Yeah.
the first trailer that used just images and created a story. It was amazing.
Oh yeah, because you were like, I don't know what that is, but that is terrifying, and I have to see. it.
Yeah, I have to see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the only one do you remember the only one since then that came close, even though it did have dialogue from the movie in it for maybe the first 30 seconds, was do you remember the James Mangold movie Identity?
Oh yeah,
That
I
was
love
a
that
really
movie.
good trailer.
I like
I love
Identity.
that movie. I love that movie that
yeah.
no one talks about.
No one
Identity
talks about that
at all.
movie,
And
yeah,
it's a
and-
great movie.
I
it had
agree.
a trailer. The
And
back
that
half
trailer,
of that trailer was
well,
like
no,
that.
and the opening of the trailer was Cusack going,
That's
the road
not
was
very-
the road was washed out. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah, you're like,
I
what
don't
is
remember.
this?
I don't remember exactly, but it was like
Yeah.
it was like we couldn't get out. It was like, and then it went into it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I missed Percy Rodriguez. I missed that.
All right, I do too. He was
And
so
that-
good.
I know, and
my
people
favorite
just
is,
people
his-
just think that trailers now are with voiceover is just that's so old fashioned. That's so
I know.
old.
Well, I had one I cut a trailer for Dementia 2 that had a voiceover narration. I tried to do a Percy Rodriguez kind of thing,
Yeah,
and I thought it was pretty good, but the distributor's like, no. No,
they don't know. They don't know.
Yeah,
gonna
they're
still
like,
be on the Blu-ray, but they did not want that trailer.
no.
But I totally aped the Percy Rodriguez trailer from They Came From Within or Shivers, where he's like, inside this blood, inside this. So I was like, inside this house, inside this room, inside her mind. I was trying to do that.
Oh,
I
that's
just
trailer.
Matt, can I just say this is the first time we've met, but the fact that you just brought up Shivers, oh my God.
It's so
I am a
good.
Cronenberg acolyte, and I
Rob's
saw.
at full mast right now.
Oh, man. I am. No, it's 45 degrees.
Just
Whole saying
not,
45 degrees. Not,
not full mast.
Perfect.
that's
a good
for me.
angle.
It's full mast. And
You're old.
I'm
that's
ready to
right.
rock and roll. But aside from that, Matt, thank you for acknowledging They Came From Within, aka Shivers. Oh my God, Cronenberg
They
horror.
came from Rob's testicles
Well, that's what she said. It's true.
at 45 degrees.
At 45 degrees. Yeah, I love that movie, and I think of all the early
Oh,
Cronenberg, that's probably my favorite. I think
Fantastic.
even
That is over The Brood.
no, The Brood. I do like The Brood more.
The
but
Brood's
I
a
guess
masterpiece.
Look, early Cronenberg. I like. Well, I guess what's the cutoff for early Cronenberg? Is
That's
it
a
The
good
Brood?
question.
it's Videodrome.
Scanners? It's scan. Oh,
No,
vid-
it's
then-
Videodrome is
then-
the height of it, and then
Videodrome wins. Videodrome wins. overall.
I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
can't
No,
go there with you.
it does.
I love
Fuck
it.
Scanners. Scanners is fucking boring.
I love
Scanners is
dude.
fucking boring. The
They
Brood
Came
is
From Within is the
pretentious.
most audacious apocalyptic.
It's all about.
Yeah.
It's all about Videodrome.
No,
all
I definitely
about
would take
Videodrome.
They Came From Within over Rat.
Videodrome. It's dangerous
Videodrome is
because
good.
It has
I
a
do.
philosophy.
I do think Videodrome is better than Scanners. You know what's weird though? I shift in those first ones. I think my top two would be I would go Brood and then Shivers. I think those are my top two.
okay, those
Oh.
and you're correct, and they can shift the
No,
position.
Videodrome.
I mean, Videodrome is a deeply flawed film.
Oh,
Shivers.
Oh, yeah, because Shivers is a perfect
I mean,
film.
You know what? No, dude, come on, man.
Just because it has
Like we're
Barbara
talking about
Steele doesn't-
independent cinema.
just 'cause
Shivers
it has
makes the
Barbara
most.
Steele doesn't mean it's a perfect film.
Does have Barbara
No,
Steele.
I would say Shivers is pretty damn good, and it's
Yeah.
way better than Scanners.
It Max.
Most
I
things are
agree.
way
I agree.
better than Scanners. Scanners is an incredibly overrated movie.
Yeah,
Well, I like Scanners, but I do
It's
think Shivers is
boring. The
better.
lead actor is a doldrum.
Stephen Lack. I know, but dude,
Yeah,
like
Even lacks charisma. Is
in
what his
cinema
name should have
history, you've got early Cronenberg. Cronenberg should be untouched. Don't
been. Hey,
touch
look,
him.
dude.
Don't touch it.
Who met Cronenberg with you for the first time
You did at the Crash screening.
at the Crash screening?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
What? Really?
Yes, the
wow.
Crash.
Dave Parker and I went and
came
saw
out.
the Sunset 5. We went and saw
And
Crash.
guess what? And I
Whoa.
was the one who we got in the wall. We were there with a group of people. We took an entire row, and we watched this rough cut of the movie.
Yeah.
And there was Skinner's music temped into the movie as we watched it.
No way.
And then we walked out of the theater and we're talking about it. And besides Rob and I, everyone hated Crash. Everyone hated
Yeah.
it.
Really?
And we're sitting there talking about it. And then I look over
And it
I
was
see
Jeremy Thomas, the producer, and David Cronenberg.
And I see
Oh.
both of them. And I go to Rob. I go, Rob, David Cronenberg is right over there.
Yep.
It's like, we have to go talk to him because this might be the only chance we ever get.
Yes, we
Yeah.
actually do, Dave. Let's go.
And we did. And he was short.
Yeah.
Cronenberg
Really?
is short. He's like 5'6".
I was surprised. I thought he was tall. He looks tall in photos. maybe
Nightbreed
because
makes
he's
him
so
look
slender.
6 feet, like whatever.
Yeah.
but he's a
yeah,
short
right.
dude.
Yeah. He does look tall.
But-
Yeah.
Both guys couldn't be nicer. Couldn't be, I mean, he
that's
couldn't have been nicer. And all we said,
Oh my
all
god.
we
the
said
nicest
was,
guy ever.
don't change your frame. Don't change a frame of this movie.
Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah. Crashes. I just revisited that recently. That's just a classic.
It's amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
And
Yeah,
boy,
love it.
that Arrow 4K is certainly.
I know.
Yeah.
It's 25 years old
Yeah.
today or this week, whatever.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
is it this week? Really?
Wow.
No, this year, whatever. 25
You
years.
excited about the new Crimes of the Future? He's remaking.
Okay,
Crimes of the
okay,
Future?
dude. No, he's not remaking it. No.
Oh, okay. Just
He's
saying.
making.
Okay,
Crimes
let me
of the
just tell
Future.
you. I
This is why I love Matt, by the way. He knows his shit.
He
Rob.
knows his shit. Matt. So about 25 years ago,
Yeah.
and I got the script, the feature script for Crimes of the Future.
Okay.
And it is so fucking weird and out there. I loved it so much. Dave, I don't know if you remember this, but at Crash, I asked Cronenberg if he was going to make Crimes of the Future.
No, actually, you didn't ask him at Crash. A couple weeks later, he was doing a bookstore signing of a book that you and I both went to, and you asked him about Crimes of the Future then.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yes, because it was. I remember this very distinctly because it was like, we're getting to meet Cronenberg like in almost like 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, please, Phil, because I've been nebulous about this.
We went to a Barnes and Noble in like Culver City, and he was doing a book signing.
Yeah,
and we met him there.
He wasn't happy with me.
No, he wasn't happy with you because you asked him about Crimes of the Future, and I was there, and I had him sign The Shape of Rage book.
Yeah. Oh
wow.
He wasn't. He was mad. He wasn't mad, but he was like how'd you read that?
Yeah.
I had the script for that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and it was the crimes. It's and by the way, it was awesome. I love it's the most. It is the culmination of his entire body horror philosophy.
Oh man,
it is so weird and out there, and I'm like, you have to make this movie.
Yeah.
And now he's actually doing it with Viggo Mortensen. I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna announce his retirement after he makes his film because he's like, here, Shivers 1975. This movie is going to come out in 2023.
Yep.
I mean, I got almost 50 years of. I have nothing more to say.
I think that unfortunately, unfortunately, the things that we don't want to talk about with our heroes and everything else is that Cronenberg has been going on for a very long time, and he's already talked about how difficult it is to get his films financed.
Yeah.
I believe he will get Crimes of the Future made, and it will probably be his final stamp, because the other thing is, at his age and everything, I mean, there's just the reality of he's probably not who
he's in his late 70s,
and who in their late 70s is in perfect health, unfortunately. I mean, a lot of
person that day still.
Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but a lot of the things that that he was probably talking about in his previous films have probably come to pass with no impetus of his own. But it's like, look, people get sick, and it's like, I'm with you. I want that one last great Cronenberg film, and I think you can give it to us.
Well,
and the thing is this: whatever it is, because it's him, I think it will be great. I lament it because you get people like Romero, and I don't think we got the last great Romero movie that we should have gotten.
No, I look,
and that wasn't due to him; that was due to other factors.
Yeah,
and that's what disappoints me.
I would say
the same thing with Craven. The same thing with Craven.
I think that one of my most eagerly awaited movies coming up is Crimes of the Future, because I've read the script. I love the script. I've been talking about it for 25 years. I think what's really interesting about Crimes of the Future is it is truly the culmination of the entire Cronenbergian New Flesh philosophy that began. I mean, I could go back to the student film Crimes of the Future or Stereo, but I won't. I mean, to me, Cronenberg, his career began for us in '75 with Shivers.
They came within.
Yeah, and then you have Shivers, Rabid, The Brood. Those three films are, to me, the most influential and transcendent horror films, because the whole idea of body horror, he said it all in the modern day. Like the idea that plastic surgery could
But
cause
he still
you
did.
to
He
have
still
a
did. He still did with Videodrome as well. That was modern day.
Yeah, no, but that was in
And
the
that
80s.
was prescient because Videodrome dealt with virtual reality before we ever
Oh
had
no,
a
no,
concept or an idea of what virtual reality was.
no doubt, no doubt. But here's the thing: if you read the production of that film, it's kind of made up and half-assed as it went along because they didn't know what they're going to do. To me, Cronenberg's masterpiece is The Brood. I mean, especially, yeah, I have
Really,
to say,
out of all, I mean, are you talking about from
Look,
that era,
look,
from
you
the
can-
era,
no, yeah,
or from his entire over?
I would say, look, everyone can be like, well, The Fly is commercially amazing, but Cronenberg was not that guy. Cronenberg is this weird experimental filmmaker from Canada, and I think his early films, Shivers, Rabid, They Came From Within, Videodrome, The Brood, all that, you have to look at those films as his scanners. To me,
You
the
think-
Demar,
but that's
the,
the- you
the
think
Fly,
that's the pinnacle.
the Fly was the culmination of pure uncut Cronenberg.
But I
You
don't
know,
know
if you're gonna
ever,
snort fatty rails of Cronenberg off a beautiful girl's ass, it ends at The Fly.
But
It
was
ends at The Fly.
But was Cronenberg a Coke guy? Because to me, I would say that The Fly is the pinnacle. And the thing is, I don't want to do. And the thing is, I don't want to. I don't want to dilute The Dead Zone, which is an amazing film.
It's great.
It's an amazing.
I love
film.
it, but it's a Stephen King adaptation. It's not Cronenberg.
But I would also.
Cronenberg's an auteur. He's a writer director, and if he adapts something,
Well, then if
I don't
but-
even
but
think he wrote the script for The Dead Zone.
But again, then you can't say. But also, going in the same line with The Fly, I would almost argue that Crash is the pinnacle, and that's a quote unquote adaptation.
It's a literary, it's a literary
But
adaptation.
again, is the literary adaptation of that even close to what that movie is?
I think it bears a certain resemblance, but my whole thing
I have not read Crash, so I can't say.
Oh, I have. I have. But here's the thing about Cronenberg that's so great is his movies, especially the early ones, his body horror epoch or whatever we're talking about. His films are so transgressive, and they really make us question our humanity. And the idea that we are meat bags that contain our intellect and who we are, our individualism, and yet in Cronenberg's movies are like, you might be a smart intellectual being, but at any one moment in time, the flesh sacks that we all walk around in that contain will revolt against you. Cancerous tumors. It doesn't matter what you are as an intellectual being, you're fucked because you reside in this meat sack that walks around and it has to shit and piss and it will revolt against you and get cancer. And you're like, wait, I'm a giant. I'm intellectual giant. Don't care. Your body is like, fuck you. We're riddled with cancer. You're going to die. And that's what Cronenberg's movies were about.
Sweet.
That kind
We've
of
hit
mortality.
the shit, piss, and cancer stage of tonight. How many listeners are we losing? Are we gaining listeners? Or are we losing listeners for this? Because
Look, man, you asked. Just saying.
Shit, piss, cancer. How do you guys all feel? Let's party.
Let's
Metal,
externalize it like they do in
What if-
Crimes of the Future. You'll see.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't fucking wait for that.
Me
movie.
neither.
And
Me neither.
What if in Videodrome when Barry Convex got shot by the cancer gun, it was just shit pouring out of him?
Oh
instead?
my God.
I mean,
First of all, Matt,
I'm not
I just
a
fell in love
shit-
with you when you said Barry
Sorry,
Convex.
guys.
You
I'm
know
not a
his
shit guy.
name.
I'm not a
You
shit
know
guy.
his name. Oh my God. I can't.
Rob, Matt knows his stuff.
I didn't.
I'm not going to say shit because
I understand that,
now
but
we're talking about shit guns now instead of
Yeah,
cancer
we're
Look,
talking
guns.
about shit.
Which one's
Matt
better?
Mercer probably did a commercial for Spectacular Optical.
Shit gun. No,
That's
Matt
all I'm
Mercer
saying.
did a-
See, he
is the
knows.
best.
He knows.
I
Matt
love that
Mercer
you know
did
that.
a commercial
see?
for shit gun. Hey. Why poop it out the
Spectacular
back when you can
Optical is
poop it
the
out the front?
best
Spectacular.
name
Yes.
for an optometry company ever.
Let's
It's
just
the fact
bond on
there's
that, Deb.
Never
'Cause-
been an actual company.
Because Matt, I had to give you my bona fides by saying Spectacular
I
Optical.
got it.
I had to do it. I had to do it.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
You work with some people. What is their production company called?
1155 Productions.
No.
No, that's you're
We're
working
talking
with
about
us. You're-
Bagos. What are theirs?
Oh, I've done a couple of
What are they called?
Channel. They're called Channel 83. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the name of their company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Civic
That's
TV.
why ours is going to be 11.
Yeah. Their company logo is the Channel 83 logo. The spectrum descending.
Of
yeah.
course.
Again, 1155, trademarked by me.
Yeah,
Thank
with
you.
the watch.
Boom.
You gotta have
There you
the ambiguous guy going El Patron.
El-
Patron. I found the pirate signal. Patron.
That's right.
Rob Song
man.
said, I started smoking shit because you said poop and things are better than, Videodrome. So, like, there you go.
There we go.
Oh my god.
I'm kidding. Oh my
boy.
goodness.
Well-
It's
It's 3 a.m.
That's
3
right.
a.m. How do we all feel, everyone? How does everyone feel? We've lost listeners. We've drastically gone down with the shit.
Fucking metal. No, we haven't.
We're at
What are you talking
130. Where's
Yeah,
our numbers, pal?
Just because it goes scatological.
that's concurrent views right now.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how this internet.
That's
thing
100.
works.
It's been. It's been good. It's been a good show. Would you like, if you want the analytics, should I tell you what countries are watching us?
No. Oh, that might be sexy though.
Okay. YouTube has analytics.
Ash says we need to get drunker.
I think we're pretty drunk. I'm pretty drunk. I mean, I'm like
We're
fucking
working
hammered.
on it. I've already had 2 bathroom breaks. I don't know how Rob has managed. He's like that bottle that you see on the well, you can't see it on the screen, but the
I
bottle
see
is
San
in there.
Pellegrino.
It's filled with urine.
Holy shit! That's
No,
tonight.
That's filled with urine.
No,
Yeah, that's
this is
tonight.
not urine.
Rob
This
goes
is
through
full.
a big bottle of Jameson's once a night. That's
No,
it.
this is no, no.
I'm kidding.
That's a handle, though. You went that you've done that much of the handle tonight. That's impressive.
I've had a
Or-
couple of
Jesus,
shots.
oh
from
my,
that bottle.
holy!
Oh my god! In a world where Matt
As we
Mercer
say on
is learning what-
1155 films.
Yes. By the way, we got to rope Matt into the whole idea.
This is the thing. You know why Matt is hanging out?
One more story.
Yeah. Before.
Just to keep us warm. You know why? Matt's hanging around because he's been filming till like 5 a.m. So this is like breeze time for him.
Yeah, I'm getting
He's
close, but this is like, I'm up now anyway.
Hey man,
We're on
that's
the
pretty
night
cool. By the way, because of our scintillating talk, Robo Q-Man just became a member of the channel.
Oh shit!
So Robo Q-Man,
Robo Q-Man.
thank
Robo
you.
Q-Man's been like throwing messages all night. He's been really fun. He or she, I don't know, been very fucking cool. But does
By the way, I mean,
wait.
why do you, Dave? Why do you have to be binary? Come on, he or she. I
I'm
mean, come on, man.
I'm
That
just
is
trying to
not
be
modern
inclusive.
and progressive.
Whoever Robo is, you're awesome. Brett Pierce is still here, Rob.
What?
Brett
Is he?
Pierce is still here.
I
Yes.
can't have more than 3 people, otherwise I bring
know.
Brett Pearson into the stream.
I'm just letting you know.
Well, Matt, we've had you. You're over. It's 3:10, man.
we're posting this. Rob, amazing. Matt, Will's final words to everyone. Plug
Matt,
away. Plug
please
away.
tell us the
Plug
secret
away.
of happiness and the world at large. How does humanity survive?
And how to make movies good, like you do.
Mm.
You have 30 seconds.
Whiskey. No. Yeah. Whiskey's a big part, though. Big part.
You're
I
my
just I
best
really
friend
appreciate. All I can say is I have been drinking some whiskey as well, and I just got an eyelash in my eye, which is always helpful. But I think I'm just thrilled you guys had me on. This has been a blast. I just love the format of the show where we just shot the shat.
And let me talk about the shat. Oh my God.
Shot the
You just redeemed me for all the
Yeah.
shit that I say and bungle.
I've had
Matt,
enough.
let me ask
I'm
you
nervous
one
because
question.
Brett Pierce. I'm nervous because
Oh
Brett
my-
Pierce is watching.
I think shot the shat is our new terminology.
By the way, don't be nervous. Brett Pierce, Los Bros Pierce, might
Wants
be
to drink
the-
with you, Matt. He
But
is such a big fan.
they're-
He has
they're
already said
feeling
this
is
in
mutual.
past episodes. He is such a huge fan of yours.
Yeah, and by the way, they are so nice. Those guys are really such great dudes. I mean, my
They
God. And by the way, come to Lucky Baldwin's in Pasadena because they'll drink with you for 5 hours. We will shoot the shat.
with Brad.
I'll call Shatner. I'm like, bruh, come to Lucky Baldwin's. I got the dogs. I got the Pierce brothers. I got Dave Park. I got Matt Mercer. Why don't you guys, Bill, come out here and drink?
I
Holy
think we've
shit.
come up with a new show, Shoot the Shat with Rob.
Yeah. No, shoot the shot with Bill Shatner, and I'll have to call him up and be like, hey, man, if you're not going to be here, we'll find some. We'll just do your voice.
and you call him and go, stop bothering me.
Rob, is there
bothering me.
money in this?
Rob,
I would love to get paid.
stop bothering me.
I don't even know what to say. Oh, my God.
All our best ideas come at 3 a.m.
Yeah, well, as they
I love this idea.
well, as they should. Matt, you're in.
Yes.
You're part of the thing.
You're part of the Shoot
Thank you.
the
I'm so
Shat.
excited.
Look,
Shoot the Shat.
I want to do a live YouTube show at Lucky Baldwin's, a round table.
Oh my
Most
God.
Bros Pierce will come, you'll come, Dave will come. Like
Chris
we could
Gore
probably
will
get
come.
Chris
We can
Gore
get
will
this
come.
going. Oh man!
Let's
Yeah.
do it. Let's do
I-
it.
I swear to
when
God.
Gore comes, you're all satisfied.
That's all. Not
I'm
what I
just
heard.
talking
but
about
okay.
Gore, just Gore in general. When the Gore
comes. And mhm.
Oh my
Gore in
God.
general, not specifically about one person.
Is it shoot the shot with the shooter?
Shoot the Shat with the shooters. The shooters.
Yeah, we're not
The
going to commit
shatters.
William Shatner to our
Shoot the
live
Shat
show.
with the shatters.
Look, if we're going to
think
do
he'd
this
get a
show,
big kick out
it
of
needs to be all us. Shatner would overshadow our agenda, which is to get money to make our next film.
He'd overshat everyone.
Yeah, you would. He would over. Yeah.
Did you see him do an arm wrestling thing with some fucking dude
Yeah.
recently?
Mike
Yep.
Tyson, right? Yeah.
He lost with Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson gave him a little kiss on the head. Hey, you know what? 11:55
Time for one more
story. Trademark me.
Well, so
There
why
we
don't we look, Matt? We should let you go. We don't want to overstay our welcome.
He's like, oh, thank God.
Matt, I want to thank you for being here. I think our audience
for
loved it. Our audience. I think our audience loved it. Thank you so
Oh.
much. Congratulations on the film. And
Thank you.
if
Thank
people
you.
want to find you, where can they find you on social media?
At Mercer Shark.
Yeah, best places. Yep. Mercer Shark on Twitter and Instagram. Mercer Shark.
Shark spelled shark like the regular shark, right?
The Shark. SHARK. Yeah.
Well,
Good.
he's-
I,
he,
spe- I
apparently-
spelled it right when I posted it earlier.
You did.
Thank God.
Matt is not a jet all the way from his first cigarette to his last dying day.
Yeah,
Because
you know
he's a
why?
shark. He's a shark.
I'm a
You-
shark.
You know why,
That's right.
Rob?
Never going to change that.
Because he's younger than you.
Oh my God, that doesn't mean his knowledge of film history is less than mine. Come on, why be an ageist, Dave? Come on, I'm going to
That's
cancel
right.
you. Hashtag Dave Parker is an ageist. Just
Bring
saying.
Bring it on,
You
people.
ageist.
Because you know what? I'm fucking old.
Yeah, but
Just
we're
not
fucking metal too. Come on.
Just not as old as Rob.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, so by the way, it's true. I mean, every day I think these young people that watch this channel are gonna be like, oh,
These young
that guy is so old,
whippersnappers.
like so old. Why am I watching him? I'm like, I don't know. My answer is, I don't know, man. I just tell you the truth. I just want to be honest and share my enthusiasm.
Hey, let's also give Matt a little
Untouchables.
before we let him go. A little congratulations that he managed to drink his whiskey without anyone noticing, compared to us, which was really noticeable.
Yeah, until I said "shat the shoot" or whatever I said. It was very
well.
clear.
I think Matt,
a whole new term now. Now it's like
I would grant you that.
Shoot the Shat with Shatner is a new show.
That's true. That's true. You have a new show. You have a new show. It's going to happen in Pasadena at
Lucky Baldwin's. We're all going to go there. I'll bring the dogs. It'll be a round table conversation. It'll be dope.
God, it's going to be kind of like Pink Flamingos, people. But that's okay.
Let's hope
that's
not.
Right.
So, Matt,
who's going to be divine?
I back to
Rob is eternally divine, just as a person.
Well, I just want to say to Matt, I want to thank you for being on the show,
being
on the channel. It's been so fun, so enlightening, and I think the audience loved it. And like you said, you've already explained where people can find you on social media. And I would ask you this: where can we see Dementia? Where can we see it?
Yeah, it is available on any VOD platform. So iTunes, Amazon, all of those, Google Play,
Voodoo,
all these things.
I said now Voodoo,
and
Voodoo, you think you're fooling. Sorry.
In HD. And then it comes out on DVD and Blu-ray for the physical media collectors.
Yeah.
Who want the extras that you've provided.
We've provided some extras. We have a very drunken commentary.
Wow, amazing.
Kind of like this show.
Yeah, it's very similar to this.
Thank God.
We even talked about shit guns. Very
similar. But not shotguns.
No.
Shotguns are shit guns, but they're just bigger.
That's right.
Oh, they're so much bigger.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of shit. There's all kinds of shit on that Blu-ray, and it's coming out. You can pre-order it now, but I think it comes out mid-June ish.
Awesome.
June 16th ish, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Nice. And can you get it at Amazon?
Eventually, I don't know if it's up there. I think right now it's just on. I know that you can get VOD wise. You can get the digital version on Amazon.
Yeah.
I don't think the disc is up on there yet, but I know it's on like Barnes and Noble, Walmart, other.
I want the disc.
Sweet.
Yeah, the disc is the way to go. It's the way to go.
Where can they find your AMSRs? Will you be creating a channel with your dulcet tones?
When it's 11:55, just come back here. And you will find my dulcet tones for one more story.
Oh my God! I just ripped my jeans. I was so aroused. My jeans ripped.
I'm gonna need a break, guys, because that one got me a little too.
Okay.
Well, you don't need a bit of wank, do you, Dave? Come on.
That was the intent. That was the intent.
It was really good.
We needed more liquids.
Well, since the three of us are here, like, there's no reason we don't have to go any further. We're three. We're three. Why don't we end this episode, Midnight Mail, the three of us together?
Great. Let's.
Guys, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been such a pleasure.
Matt, it's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on for so long, and I hope I didn't overtake your time.
I hope.
No, this show is all about you, sir.
No, of course not. It's really been a showcase for you. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
I'll see you in Pasadena.
We'll see you. We'll see you soon.
Sure. I'm always in Pasadena. I'm here right now.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I'll see you at the bar.
I'll be there.
There we go. And I hope I hope everyone, Brett, we're sorry, but we'll talk to him soon.
Yeah.
Right?
Brett,
Rob?
we're sorry.
Bro, of course. I mean, if I'm not talking,
apology to Brett Pierce.
if I'm not talking
Yes.
to Brett Pierce, I'm thinking about him.
Well,
So he knows. He
I
knows.
just want I just wanted to cover that base. I hope everyone else really enjoyed this. Thank you guys. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Matt. Thank you everyone who's fucking listening. You guys are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I second that. I want to thank Andre from Norway coming on. I want to thank Matt Mercer coming on. I want to thank Dave. It's been so much fun co-hosting the show with you. I specifically want to thank my moderating staff who is here. Richard. Oh my God, the Richard's here. There's so many people that are here. And
I want to thank
Snipe,
Black Phillip
Alvarez is here.
Kinky Sphincter.
Yeah. I want to meet that person. Just saying. But thank you to all of my moderators. Thank you to all the people that send in tips and super chats. Thank you so very much for supporting the channel. It's this kind of content with Matt that we do better than anyone else on the interwebs. So see what you get when you become a member. It's all good.
You guys make it happen. Thank you.
So on that note, gentlemen, why don't we bring Midnight Metal episode 21 to an end? Are you down with this?
Sounds pretty metal.
It seems like it's 11:55.
Okay, Matt, listen, I want more. I want more than that. You're good at this. What I would like you to say is pick your favorite movie, a movie you know the dialogue to. Don't tell us what the movie is. In your ASMR voice. I want you to do your favorite movie quote of all time. And it can't be 11:55 a.m.
Okay. Oh God, okay.
You've really thrown like your favorite movie quote ever. Put a big challenge on there, pal.
Big challenge.
It's a big challenge, but I've also thrown him a tall order. He has to define it for years to come.
Okay. I'll probably get blamed for that. My favorite movie quote of all time. Very generic movie quote.
And very insightful into your psyche.
Yeah, but you know what? I can't argue with you. I mean, no wonder it's there.
Wait, can I do mine now?
Yes, Dave, I'm waiting. Yes, you can.
Boy.
Okay, monosyllable. Okay. All right. Now look what we've got before us. We've got the Sorensens sitting next to the Jones Street Boys, right next to the Van Cortlandt Rangers. Wait, I'm thinking about it. And that is a miracle. And miracles was the way things was meant to be. Now there ain't but 20,000 police in the whole town. And
God
shit.
damn.
No, this is going so well. This is really
fucking asshole.
I'm
gonna
sorry.
do the Warriors fucking speech.
Come on, Cyrus,
Asshole. You
dude.
fucking asshole.
Come on.
I'm really digging this. I think you should continue.
Now there ain't but 20,000 police in the whole town. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? No, I've completely skipped over all that shit. I being a little tipsy, I forgot. But wait, it was like.
Oh yeah, being a little tipsy. I got one word out, and you like do a whole fucking speech.
No, but hang on. No, that the thing is, I should know this, and I'm not I used to know the whole thing. I'm sorry. I'm old and drunk.
I know, I love it. The fact that you got
really
that
thought-
much is amazing. I'm like going,
Yeah.
he's doing the fucking Warriors. He's gonna do the whole fucking
He's gonna do
Warriors
the whole
speech.
thing.
I was trying.
And I'm
I
like,
was I can't.
and I just do, boy, I do
No,
one
that
more.
was good.
I pick the easy shit, and I fucking watched Streets of Fire last night again for like the 900th time. Rob, I could have done that, but I didn't.
9 delegates from 100 gangs, and there's over 100 more. 60,000 soldiers. 20,000 counting affiliates and 30,000 more. Yeah, whatever.
I promise.
I'm missing it all. I'm totally out of this. And there ain't but 20. That's what. And 60,000. I'm totally wrong. I you know what I tried to do is.
I wish this was how the
some
monologue was
shit.
delivered in the movie, where he said, "I wait,
No, I fucked
I
it
got
up.
my math is
can I
off. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. Terrible. You know what? I used to know that by heart. I don't know it, and especially drunk. I'm like, I was in the weeds. I jumped lines. I'm sorry, but
You know what? Brett Pierce, I'm looking at the chats. He's mocking us right now.
It's
Brett-
clearly
Brett's mocking
Is
us
he
right
really?
He's
Well,
all
he
fans.
should.
He's all fans of us, but rightfully so. He's mocking us.
you should
So,
mock us.
Yeah.
we're sorry,
deserve it.
everyone. We promise we'll do better.
Yeah, well,
We will we will
Oh,
do better.
yeah.
your turf, your little piece of turf. Sorry.
Oh, you're not doing tough turf right now. You're still doing.
No,
the
that's
Warriors.
still. I'm still doing
No,
science
no, you're still doing the Warriors.
because I'm a whole lot of magic. You know. Anyway, is Brett?
Can
Pierce
you
really,
dig it? Can you dig
Can
your man?
Can you,
Oh.
baby? He's a righteous man.
Baby, he's a righteous man. Can you dig your man? Larry,
Boy, all I
what are you
wanted from
doing?
the new Stand miniseries was a new version of that.
baby,
and I-
can you dig your man?
I was so upset. I got a lame version. It's so like the people. How? By the way, can I give a shout out to every idiot who worked on the Stand? Not the actors and all that, but writers. Come on, man. You started your miniseries in Colorado.
Well, Mick Garris, we love you.
Yeah, Mick Garris. By God, we do. And
We love you, Mick Garris. Mick Garris, we
dude,
love you.
And by the way,
You
Joe Bob-
made the good stand. You made the good stand.
But how do you fuck up the Stand so badly?
Oh man, I have not seen it yet.
Oh, dude, don't watch it. It opens
Uh,
in Colorado. Like the whole place where the good guys are going to. The first third of the book opens in Colorado. Hey,
Yeah, no, it's got a weird structure. The new one. Just so you know,
no, it's got
Rob,
a terrible.
Rob. Just so you know, Saber Wolf says, "Is Rob going to read his super chats?" I don't know if you have any more to read before we sign off, but I'm just.
No, I did, and Saber
We
Wolf
did.
said, "Yeah." I mean, we talked about. Saber Wolf says, "Hey, Rob and Dave and Matt, if you could remake or reboot a horror franchise in which you direct and have creative control, what would it be?"
Oh, we didn't answer this.
No, we didn't answer this.
Let's all end this with this one.
By the way,
Rob?
we did. By the way, we did answer this question.
I don't.
He always
remember-
watches Freddy versus Jason, but we didn't. I didn't see this one.
No, he didn't ask that one. So Rob, you start answering this one. If you could remake, what? So what's the parameters? Any horror franchise?
By the way, there's
Is
a
that
lot.
the-
there's a lot of super chats that I'm looking at. Have come in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but that one. Let's start with that one.
Sorry, yeah, that's a so Saber
what-
said that.
The parameters are any franchise.
Yeah, if you could remake or reboot a horror franchise in which you direct and have creative control, what would it be? And you're asking me what it would be.
Right. You start first, Rob.
I would take the Hellraiser franchise.
Okay.
And I would go back to you know what? I know he's 40 years older. I would bring Doug Bradley back to be Pinhead.
Okay.
But I would modernize it and bring it into the social media world, because the idea, the whole central premise of Hellraiser is that people are unsatisfied with their lives, and they open the lament configuration to fulfill whatever it is they think they need. Like Frank Cotton, when he fucks his brother's wife, and even after he comes hard and she makes him satisfied, he just turns around and says, "It's never enough."
All right.
I mean, he's transgressed, so I would deal with that. I would reboot the Hellraiser franchise.
All right. I understand that, but I'm going to challenge you on this point.
That's not part of what he asked.
No. Hold on. But no, I'm going to ask you because you're going, oh, I would bring Doug Bradley back. But with no disrespect to Doug Bradley, what advantage do you have bringing a over middle-aged actor as Pinhead back into the series?
Well, because no one is a better Pinhead than the original Pinhead. So why not if he's still alive?
But again, if you're not physically capable of doing the same things,
then I would get Tom Hardy.
Okay. See, that's why I'm asking.
Tom
that's
Hardy.
Why I asked the question.
Come on, Tom Hardy as Pinhead? Give me a break. Come on.
Tom Hardy is
that's pretty
Frank. Good. I'm more interested in.
No. Because no. Tom Hardy is Pinhead.
Okay.
He looked like Pinhead in Star Trek Nemesis anyway.
He did. That's true.
Well, but he doesn't. He doesn't look like that now.
Well, he's pretty dope.
He's buff and fucking built now.
He's not Russell Crowe. I mean, come on.
He's not the way he was in Nemesis, which was very lithe and spindly.
Yeah, because that was like 25 years ago.
That's why I'm asking you.
And it sucked. No, but so Dave, let me ask you.
Okay.
If you could remake or reboot a horror franchise.
Oh, wait. If I would cast Pinhead, I would cast...
No, you can do whatever you want.
Wait,
this is my thing.
Wait, hold on. Let me say. I'm just going to go. If I would cast Pinhead now, Ezra Miller.
Did you see The Stand?
No, I didn't.
He was Trash Can Man.
Yeah, I didn't see it. But I would cast Ezra Miller as Pinhead, and that would be interesting.
Huh.
All right. Who am I to judge? So Matt, you have you've got your venerable horror franchise you grew up loving. It's now yours. What would you do with it? Who would you cast? What would it be?
And what would it be?
I would do. I don't know if it's venerable, but I've always wanted to remake Chud, the Chud films.
Oh my God, you win
because
it's not a franchise though. That doesn't count.
There's two of them.
There's two, and by the way,
does two make a franchise?
Yes, it does. And the only thing wrong with Chud 2 is that they should have been Chads, cannibalistic humanoid above ground dwellers, because that's what Chads were.
Chads, yeah.
And by the way, it ties into the whole incel thing. Can you imagine making Chad the sequel to Chud?
Oh my God, that's brilliant! Yeah, Chads.
They're all it's all the incels were able, their biology class, they took all the Chads, the lantern-jawed, beautiful people, and turned them into the Chuds of the title.
Hey, Rob, you know what? It's not your pitch. It's Matt's pitch.
Okay,
that's pretty good, though.
It's Matt's pitch of what
I was just riffing on his already great idea.
I riffed on yours and I came up with something better, but you know what? You didn't. It's like it's his. Let him finish his.
Okay.
I don't even know if I have much of a pit. Well, I know this. The song from Chud 2, Bud the Chud, has to somehow play diegetically.
No.
In the first Chud.
No, diegetically, he's right. It has to be heard in the continuity of the film. Like somebody's playing on a radio.
Someone's like got it on
or brushing their teeth and singing along.
The Chud.
I don't
Bud
like
the Chud.
I don't.
Bud
I don't.
the Chud. It's a great
I
song.
don't
Fuck
like
that.
that.
Great.
Yeah, but
I'm not happy about this.
Chud just really needs to be remade. I know several people have tried, and it just hasn't happened. It it's not a bad movie, but it's not a great movie. And I just think there's a lot of possibility there that wasn't tapped the first time around.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of movie I'd want to remake. And
I'm in agreement with Matt on that front, and I will prove it with my choice.
Oh, what is your choice then?
No, I'll let you finish.
No, I'm pretty much done. I don't really have much of a pitch. I did like. There's this
finish off, Matt. Like really give him the finish.
I really just have scenes in my head. Like I feel like I'd want to start with a subway train scene. It has to open with like a murder on a train instead of the woman. You know, the original opens with the woman walking down the street. You just get
because the poster was exactly that.
Yeah,
and it was
I feel like it should open on a subway train because if you've lived in New York, there's nothing creepier than being by yourself on a train and maybe you've accidentally drifted off to sleep for a second and then you wake up and you suddenly realize your train is drifting through an abandoned station at the end of the line and you have to wait a while before it turns around.
Midnight Meat Train, though.
I know.
But it doesn't have to be like that.
Cross Chud with Midnight Meat Train, which I highly approve of.
That should be fucking awesome, by the way. I mean, who doesn't love Midnight Meat Train and Chud?
I think that's a great combo.
The story,
I'm not opposed to that.
The story, Midnight Meat Train, might be my favorite Clive Barker story. So, of course, I highly recommend it.
What is
yours? That's good.
Mine?
That's good.
Yeah. What is mine?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm going to remake a franchise,
Dave,
I'm sorry, Rob. Wait, you said wait. Are you?
No. I was going to say like some Ash Chowan said something that I thought.
What did he say?
He said, "I love practical effects in films. Freddy Got Fingered has some of the best.
Jesus Christ, dude!
From sitting a deer down to spinning a newborn by the umbilical cord." And Tom Green chewing the cord off it so thick, clam chowder, elephant cum. We need more practical effects in movies. You know what? Ash just said the same thing I would say to any studio executive when pitching a makeup effects project.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? We need more clam chowder, elephant cum in our movies.
Yeah.
We need more practical effects. If we can't have that, why bother?
That's true.
And I love that.
I'm going to make more of an effort to have clam chowder elephant cum.
Oh, yeah. And
what do you have to produce it yourself or not?
Oh, no, I know. But Robo Q-Man became a channel member. But Mass Hussein says, "Hi, Robin Dave.
What's wrong?
Cronenberg was asked to direct Return of the Jedi. The mind boggles." He was.
Actually.
It was actually David Lynch.
Yeah.
It was not Cronenberg.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Rob.
By the way, that was Jinx, and you owe me a Coke. CCO Playmate, come down and play with me.
So I'm going to lay this down now.
Yeah.
The quote-unquote franchise.
Lay it down, brother.
The franchise, though, now that Matt picked Chud, I don't really think of it as a franchise. So I'm going to go off on this.
That's because you're small-minded. Diversify your thoughts.
How dare you? When you hear my pick, when you hear my pick,
there's more than one. It's a problem.
You're not going to think I'm small-minded.
Okay. Well, I will pass judgment on you after I hear it. Please, go.
What I would remake. What I would expand upon. Neon Maniacs.
Wow.
If you haven't seen it, you don't know. You have no idea. But you're going to thank me when you do. Neon
Who's going to finance this, Dave?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
I don't know if I would be.
Oh, you have little doubt.
Look, I'm down. I think everybody here, the Pierce brothers, Matt Mercer, myself, you, who doesn't want to see a Neon Maniacs?
Matt?
I'm all about it, but I have to admit something. I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I haven't seen it. Haven't seen it.
At least you're honest.
I'm honest. I have not seen Neon Maniacs.
I'm at advantage.
So now I have a
Because
treat.
He hasn't seen Neon Maniacs. It's a delight in a very weird way that makes no sense when you actually watch the movie.
Uh-huh.
It's just one of those things that it's like I would like to do like Ghoulies. I would do Ghoulies.
Come on, really?
I would do a great Ghoulies, like a scary fucking Ghoulies movie.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I'm
could.
totally 86ing you from this stream, but okay.
Well, Matt, I just gotta say, since this is the last show, the last Midnight Metal that I'll be on now, because Rob is 86 feet.
Oh, Dave, I love you. It's all in good fun. It's all ribbing.
It's been such a pleasure
He didn't say munchies.
To be my last show with you. It means so much. So,
Dave, you will never have a last show with me. I think we're gonna go into the grave holding hands and singing together. Hymnals.
I just have to reach over Elizabeth and a couple other people to like hold hands, but
Hey,
we'll be there. We'll be there.
Is that a bad thing?
No,
Okay,
of course
good.
not.
Okay.
Crossing the street, like no. Oh, I like this. Someone said Vanessa Lukey says, "I bet Dave Parker would make a great Oh, thank you. I bet Dave Parker would make a great Dracula movie. You have no idea. I have like fuck Neon Maniacs and Ghoulies and all this other shit. I have a Dracula idea that has never been done that I'm very excited about. That is a dream project, and I've talked to Matt about it before.
Yeah, it's an outstanding idea.
That honestly would be like one of the top things I would ever love to be able to do.
Oh my!
So here's the plot. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so gentlemen,
I like this.
we were supposed to bring an end to this show.
That's right.
But 66 Starship Alien says, "Ghoulies, your hair is too good to do Ghoulies. Look, I have this hair that almost looks like a rug, like John Beekler's. I don't think I'm too good to do a Ghoulies thing. It almost looks like it's fake, but it's not. It's real."
Well, I love that. So, gentlemen, I think it's time. I mean, I have to do a stream soon, 11.
That's why I like keeping Rob on.
I know.
Just to torture him.
Look,
now.
it's not like I'm not metal, but first of all, I want to thank Matt Mercer for even coming on the show. I thanked him before, but I'm going to thank him again. I want to thank you, Matt, and congratulations on the success of the film. Wait, why are you interrupting me? Come on.
I'm saying thank him one more time.
Okay, Matt. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate you being here, and thank you for Dave Parker to reaching out, because Dave's become like the booker on this show, and I think for our Midnight Metal show, we're getting some very amazing erudite guests. So thank you to Dave for reaching out to him, and Matt, thank you for listening to Dave going,
blah, blah, blah.
You're not going to cry about this, are you? Like, oh, come on. And Jesus. Thank you. And I want to thank my compatriot, Dave Parker, for being a great co-host, and I can't think of the show without you. So there you go. Amazing.
I want to thank Rob for letting me be the most drunken co-host next to him.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're both. I mean, that's the whole thing. We get drunken. I want to thank my moderating staff, as they say, the blue.
Oh my God!
I want to thank Mike Baldwin. I want to thank the Richard. Oh yeah, I want to thank Bunyan Snipe.
Yes.
Awesome. I want to thank. I think I don't know who else is there.
I want to thank Ash. He always chimes in with like awesome shit.
Yeah, there's great guys.
So many people who
Vesta Lukic is great. She lives in Sarajevo.
Oh, no shit.
She's Miss Sarajevo. Oh yeah. So we have a truly international audience for this show, and I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart.
Yes, thank you so much, guys, for sticking around and putting up with our shenanigans and bullshit. So
yeah, and
Black Phillip also always.
Which is good. Our favorite Texan. So I would say to you, Matt, Mr. Mercer, thank you for being here. Thank you for being so open and approaching this with candor and honesty.
Patient and hanging with us.
Yeah, this was great, a mythical experience. Thank you so much.
This was a blast. Thank you for having me.
And last plug, guys, please go check out Dementia Part Two. It's on iTunes and every video place you can rent stuff for. It's coming out on DVD and Blu-ray. If you're a physical collector, check that out. Look for it, but get it. It's worth your while, especially if you are an aspiring filmmaker. This is going to inspire you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You this movie and what Matt and Mike Teston has done proves that you can do it and you don't need a fucking $1 million to do it.
No. And read the article because there's lots of great filmmaking ideas that the actual process they used, everyone can benefit from that. So
yes.
Yeah, we got pretty molecular in those articles. So
yeah.
Much appreciated. Thank you for saying
awesome.
that. Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you so much. It was a blast being here. Thank you so much for
Matt. It was our pleasure. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
Fucking midnight
episode
21. Oh my God, so fucking.
We'll see you guys next week.
All right, Matt. Thank you so much.
All right, later.
Well, Dave, that was a fantastic interview.
Thank you, Rob.
No,
I'm always so appreciative of having this drunken ability to be able to do this with you.
You're drunk, super bad. But we're doing it, Dave.
We're
getting drunk together. It's
I'm not
fantastic.
too drunken, but I am doing this. I'm abiding and I'm having a good time doing it. But I don't want to fuck things up and be too slobbery or anything like
Dave,
that.
you can't do that on this show. The audience will understand.
No, I know. But seriously, I love doing this. It's such a great time.
I do too. It's our show, man. We have, in case people didn't, remember, this is the show. It morphed into just the two of us. I mean, Dave Parker and Robert Meyer, but it's been too fucking long. I mean, my God. We're on the internet together. Look, you just have to click and be like, oh my God, there's both of us. How are you all doing, Dave? So, Dave, I have John Campy, his housewarming party later today.
Oh, nice.
I'm liquored up. I need to go to bed.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and whenever I go to bed, I have to touch myself, fantasize. It's all good.
Well, as everyone does, but luckily when you get older, you don't have to touch yourself for as long.
Oh no, I like to prolong it as long as I can. I mean,
hopefully, you know how to speed things up if you have to.
It's true. I use AI devices, and they're all good. I have a whole group of walking robots that I'm like, oh, I forgot to.
It's called a love sense, Rob.
Yeah, it's true. It's
called a love sense. But yeah. So you're going to a housewarming tomorrow. That's awesome.
Yes.
I am going to watch The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
I can't wait. You got to tell me how that is. I look forward to it.
I'm very excited. Our friend Joe Bashar did the score again, as we know.
And he's great.
Amazing. I got to see him tonight.
Yeah.
And again, he says hello. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow. And then who knows? Well, we're getting ready. We didn't even get to talk about the Raise Hellathon tonight.
No. Well, that's on.
We have to address this.
We have to
talk about this and address this with everyone. So
I will say this: the Raise Hellathon is very much alive.
Yes,
but there are many legal considerations that we have to surmount.
Just so everyone knows that we're not fucking slacking on shit.
No,
we're dealing with hard realities of this crazy idea that we came up with on the show.
Yeah, and we're going to do the Raise Hellathon. For those of you who don't know, the idea is to raise money, $2.2 million to make 3 horror films, one directed by Los Bros Pierce, one directed by Dave Parker and one directed by myself. They will be auteurist visions. And the thing is, you are the studio. You will be interactive. We're going to ask you questions, and you're going to have to make huge decisions, like in casting. Who should we hire?
Oh, boy.
And it's going to be a big thing. There's a lot of logistics involved. It's happening, though.
But the whole part is to figure out how to do this where you guys are a part of this entire process.
Oh, yeah.
As we do it.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
We're going to come up with that. We're going to come up with the stories and the scripts.
And it was made up on this show like a couple of weeks ago. And then when I finally got into it, I'm like, I can't just make shit up and go, we're going to have a film festival contest and I can't just do that anymore.
But we have to do it. We have to do it right. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But it's all the important part, along with making really cool movies, is making sure that you guys are a part of it.
Yeah. That's the whole point. And it's going to be great. I mean, you'll be every step of the way. If you want to know how a movie's made, we're going to show you. But on that note, Dave, I now have to drain the main vein. I must go. So why don't we bring an end to this episode 121 of Midnight Metal.
Amazing. We finally got to be legal.
Yeah, we're
legal
drinking
to drink now.
heavily. If people want to find you, I know you have not the biggest social media presence, but where can people
I try
find
to
you?
keep myself. I try to keep things pretty private, but I am on Instagram under Parker Vision. Yeah. I also am a co-host on another podcast that I'm really proud of, that I really like. Look, this is a live show. This is not a podcast. This is a whole different.
It's true. Okay.
It's a whole different animal. So I do this podcast that I'm really proud of, that I have a lot of fun with. It's about horror movies, and it's called Night Marathon.
All right.
If you look it up. So you can find me either at Parker Vision on Instagram, or hit me on Night Marathon, or you can hit Rob with a message.
Yeah, please.
As well. And I'm on Facebook too under Dave Parker. So you can find me there.
And on that note, Dave, I think
Rob,
we should say that we thanked the moderators. And
yes.
we would have to say that, as I say all the time, every single person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, Dave. All you have to do is listen. I don't.
And you know what? That story is fucking metal.
It's fucking metal, dude. This show is fucking metal.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Keep it going.
Yes, and you'll see me tomorrow with Dieter Bastian on Let's Get Physical Media in 7 hours. Holy shit. Yeah. So thank you, Dave. This show is so much fun. Thank you, Matt Mercer, for being here. Thanks for Andre from Midnight's Edge. Thank you for what a great show.
So many people. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
everyone.
And on that note, I bid you all adieu.
Rock on.
Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much. And on that note, have a better night.